everybody. It's episode 319 of PodQuest.
Hey!
It's Wednesday, September 30th, 2020. I am Chris. With me is Droo.
Hello.
Walnut.
Yep, I'm here.
How you guys doing?
Oh, boy. I don't know. I mean, overall, I'm alright.
Yeah, I mean, I was exhausted this morning after watching, the debate, but besides that, I'm fine.
Man, that thing was a fucking shit show.
Because I don't have live TV, I didn't watch it yesterday. I don't know if I could have been able to, but I waited to watch it this morning, and we were so slow at work that I was able to just sit there and watch it. And at the end of the 2 hours of the debate, because I watched the preview, the pre-stuff and the post-stuff, like, at the end of that, I stopped, I looked at my sister, I'm like, I'm fucking exhausted. And she had watched it before me, she's like, I know. And she was laughing at me as I'm like sitting here screaming at my computer screen watching it. It was insane.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is the debate committee has already made a statement that they are changing how things are run for the next ones.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
It sounds like they might give the moderator the ability to turn microphones off.
They need to, especially with Donnie J over
there. Or they just have somebody standing behind both of them with like a cattle prod.
Like a quick shock or something like that. Like, shut up,
yeah.
Shut up.
Just every time he opens his fat mouth, fucking shock him.
Well, that's the Pavlov thing. You know, those things where it's like, you it's a wrist, like, kind of like a watch, but it's just, you wear it on your wrist, it's not a watch. Excuse me. And it's a black, like, thing that you press anytime you have a bad habit inclination, and it shocks you, and it's supposed to keep you from having that bad habit.
Yeah, it's positive punishment.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of negative punishment.
No. So, positive punishment is when you're introducing something as a punishment. Negative punishment is when you're taking something away as a punishment.
Oh,
so,
okay.
When you punish a child by, like, taking away, like, Fortnite, that is negative punishment.
But, I mean, you're shocking yourself as punishment for not like, eating that snack food that you shouldn't eat, or whatever.
Yeah, and you are introducing an outside stimulus, so that is positive punishment.
But is that punishment really positive? It could hurt.
I hate you.
I'm just saying. Like, I also think the Pavlov thing is the dumbest thing in the world, because you could just not shock yourself. It's not like you have to shock yourself if you own it yourself. Now, if somebody else were in charge of it, then maybe it makes sense.
But like, I understand, like, the idea behind it. Like,
yeah.
After a while, so it becomes almost muscle memory, like, in a weird way. You know, the more you shock yourself, the more having a thought of, like, oh, do I want that cigarette? Do I want that snack? Your body involuntarily goes, oh, no, that it hurts when I do that.
Well, it's like they did it on an episode of The Office as one of the cold opens with Jim powering down his computer and giving Dwight a mint. It's the same exact thing. Eventually, Dwight identified the chime of the computer going off to getting a mint, and he put his hand out subconsciously without even realizing it.
Yeah.
I mean
you do know why it's called Pavlov, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure, because, yeah.
Well, it's the Pavlok, but it's from Pavlov.
No, I'm just making
from the idea that Pavlov has started.
And I just want to make sure that you're not just saying yes. Who is Pavlov?
He was the dude with the dog.
What did he do?
He was the dog guy, and he was, right? Like, I know the idea. I do know the idea.
Okay, what is the idea?
It's what we're saying, like, the positive reinforcement of, like, I can't explain it. I've never actually directly been taught it, but I know it and I understand it.
It's habit. He's forming a response to habit. So Pavlov's experiment was every day he'd ring a bell and then feed his dogs.
Yeah.
And then he measured that after a certain amount of time, ringing the bell caused the dogs to salivate.
Yeah, and see, I was right. He was with the dog. I just didn't know the experiment, but I understood.
I didn't say you were wrong.
I think I heard someone giggling back there, okay?
I mean, you were kind of stumbling over it, so
yeah,
it was hard to tell if you knew what you were talking about or if you were just trying to, like, trump it.
No, I'm more Biden, where it's like I just stumble over things that I'm not directly sure of, but I do know what it is.
I'll accept that.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of all that bullshit. Let's get started. Drew, you hate Stranger Things.
I don't know. I kind of hate it.
Goodness.
It's not good, in my opinion.
Now, out of curiosity, do you think it's expectation versus what you got? Like, had you not been told for 4 years or whatever that it was a great show, that you would have enjoyed it more?
No, probably not. I definitely don't see why people like it at all. Like,
Well, what? Not quality wise, but story wise and dialogue or narratively wise. What were your expectations going into this?
absolutely nothing. I knew literally zero, other than there were kids and they played D&D. That was the extent of my knowledge of Stranger Things.
Okay. So I only asked because I wanted to make sure like you went into it with basically the same mindset of everyone else. Like these kids in the 80s, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
these kids in the 80s, like, and weird stuff happens. I just wanted to make sure like you didn't like pre-read or get some additional expectations or whatever. I don't get it. I love the show. I think the like one of the things you said to us, and I'll let you elaborate on it in a second, was that the kids are insufferable. To me, I think the kids are some of the better child actors I've ever seen.
So you're conflating their ability to act with the actual characters. They're perfectly fine actors. I have no qualms I don't think their acting sucked. I think the characters suck. They're annoying, they're bratty, they're pissy. Like,
They're 12.
Yeah. Sure, but they're like they are the stereotype of 12-year-olds. Like, and that's my problem with basically every character in the show, is they're all incredibly tropes.
And how many episodes did you have left that you didn't watch?
3 in the first season.
So I feel like, and I'm going off of like memory from a show from several years ago, but I think that show was one of the unfortunate ones where the kids are kind of shitty throughout the first season, but not because they're shitty, just they're 12-year-olds. Like,
they're
they think they know everything and they don't, and they're bratty.
I don't see it as they think they know everything. I see it as they're 12-year-olds who are afraid for the loss of their friend and are equivalizing what they know to what's going on. Like, they know nerd shit in D&D, so they're turning what they know into what's actually going on.
But then, like, they treat each other like shit. They treat Eleven like shit. They just all suck. I have no reason to root for them to find their fucking friend.
I don't remember them treating each other or Eleven like shit.
They constantly fight. Lucas is the black kid?
Yeah.
He treats her like shit fucking from the moment she shows up. He hates her. He says nothing positive about her, like, ever. Like, he's garbage, like, to her. Like, it's like, okay, cool, you're such an asshole, why do I care that you get your friend back? Like, Mikey's just like, they just suck. They all suck, and it's fucking terrible. Like, I can't. Like, me and Sarah watching it, like, after the 4th episode, I turned to her, I'm like, what do you think of this show? And she's like, I don't get why people liked it. And I'm like, okay, me either. Let's try one more. Any difference? Nope, not at all.
I'd have to go rewatch it. I don't recall them.
They didn't like 11 because Mike did. Like, he was putting all of his like effort into her.
He was putting all of his faith into her being able to find Will.
Mm-hmm.
And they were more interested in finding Will, that they didn't really care about this strange girl. Like, same with Cobb, like, I'd have to go rewatch it. I watched it when it first aired, and it was one of, like, I think I watched it through, like, within 3 or 4 days. So I watched it pretty rapidly, that I didn't really process a lot of it throughout, but I don't remember, like, I do remember him being, like, not happy that Eleven's around, but I don't remember him being directly an asshole.
He yells at her fucking every single time they're in the same scene together. Like, every time.
Didn't she, like, use her powers accidentally, and and somebody got hurt, and that's one of the times he yelled at her, like...
Yeah, but that's, like, the 9th time he's yelled at her at that point.
But again, they're supposed to be shitty 12-year-olds. That's what they do. Especially to a girl.
See, I wouldn't even say they're supposed to be shitty.
If they're supposed to be shitty, then that's fucking terrible writing.
I'm just saying 12-year-olds are shitty.
Cobb doesn't like children, so we already know that. So when he says shitty 12-year-olds, he just means 12-year-olds. But they're also emotionally distraught 12-year-olds that have a lot of shit going on. Like, you have to, like, remember that, like, yeah, he might be flipping out on her, but he's processing the loss of his friend. Like, I like, what is Gaten's character's name? I can't even remember. Dustin. Dustin is, like, the nicest kid in the world. Like, I don't think he's done a shitty thing in that entire series.
He's kinda not cool to 11 at the very, very beginning when she's there, but he's also so fucking in the background for basically the entire show. Whatever. He's such a whatever character so far in, like, the first 5 episodes. He does basically nothing until the compasses. That's, like, the first time he's significant at all. Like, Mikey's sister is a way more prominent character in the show than Dustin until the magnets. The magnets and the compasses. Like,
and see, I think that show actually has better... I think a lot of those ancillary characters actually get better development at the end of the season into the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't help you to get through a season if you're not enjoying it.
No.
Like, the character development definitely does become a lot better, especially in season 2.
I've had people both tell me season 2 is the best season and the worst season. So, I don't know about this fucking show. I don't know that I'm ever going to even finish that first season.
You just look. You hate scripted television. We understand
that. That's not entirely untrue. So
now the important thing here, though, is you watched what 6 episodes?
5.
So, Rich, you now have to watch 5 hours of wrestling.
That's fine. I will watch. The rule is that the deal was for every episode that he watched, I would watch 1 hour of non-WWE, because fuck them, wrestling. So, at some point because I, again, don't have cable, can't really watch shit unless it's free. Some point when this is all cleared up, we'll have to set up a schedule to watch some, what is that?
We'll either watch some AEW or some New Japan.
Or both. We can split it.
I'm debating whether to show you just all stuff that's super fucking good. Like, part of me just wants to watch, and honestly part of it's because I haven't actually seen all of them either, is watch the 4 Kenny Omega Kazuchika Okada matches, which I think will take 5 hours.
Do they just go for a very long time?
Well, I know the last 2 matches, the next to last match is an hour-long match that ends in a time limit draw. Like, they go the 60 minutes and nobody wins. Spoiler. But then I think the last one, they get rid of the time limit, it goes over an hour.
Jesus.
I would make the argument that you can't... I don't know. Cobb, you'll be the judge of this. You are the referee of all this, or the judge, or whatever we want to call it. But I would make the argument that since I can't necessarily tell you here's the 5 best episodes of Stranger Things or whatever, because you kind of need to watch that show to understand it, and if you were to just jump into a random episode, you'd be absolutely lost, that you can't pick and choose the 5 best. It would have to just be 5 hours.
I would agree, and I think the thing that would make the most sense is to watch, 5 hours, obviously not consecutive hours, but, watching, the American broadcast of whatever on TV, where you can get all of their shitty storylines as well as the wrestling.
Yes.
This way you're getting the full experience. You're not just watching, an hour-long match that happens to be very good. You're getting all of the shitty stuff in between also.
Yeah.
And potentially a bunch of either bad or good matches, depending on what that week has in store.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I think that because I could, anytime I try to get somebody to watch Doctor Who, I tell them here's a one-off episode and it's don't blink. You can watch that, and if you like that, try the rest of it.
See, I think that's such a bad way to go about that. I think Blink is the worst episode to show somebody when you want them to get into the show.
It's an all-encompassing episode, though. You don't really need to know anything about before or after. It's just all in one, and it's a really well-done episode. But it
is a very well-done standalone episode, but it doesn't track with anything else in the series because it is so standalone that I just don't feel that it's a very good primer for what that show is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you hate Stranger Things. Richie is going to watch wrestling. Richie, you also finished the first season of Supernatural.
Yes. That first season ended with quite a shock. I was not expecting. It's one of a few shows that, like, left the full-on story completely open, like, at the end of it. Nothing wrapped up at the end of it.
Oh, wow. I wonder if they got renewed very early.
From what I've read, some people have said to me, I don't really know if it's true or not, they were originally just straight up planning 5 seasons, and so they were just going to keep going with the 5 seasons. That's why, like, and I've posted this question on Facebook of, like, how do they always afford living in hotels when they don't make any money what they're doing? And it's credit card fraud. And I'm like, so they commit credit card fraud for 15 years? And it seems about right. But yeah, it's I guess they did get left off early or picked up early. I'm not really too sure. But it was like the last episode, like it kind of introduced, finally you encountered the main villain, but at the end of it, when it wrapped up, he was still out there, and everything was still open. And actually, spoiler alert for the first season, which was 15 years ago, a truck hits the car, and everyone's, like, unconscious. So, like, it could have been, like, a one and done. They died in the car crash. Or they brought it forward, and I actually have started watching season 2 that pulled up right from there, and it's good. I enjoy it. It's gonna be a long watch, but it's good, and it's entertaining enough. Some episodes are very campy or annoying, or just flat out boring because they had to fill that 1 hour time slot for 20 weeks. So not everything is always gonna matter.
Yeah,
it is good. Cobb, have you ever watched it?
No, I was never really interested in it back when it started, and after 15 years, it was just one of those shows. It's like, I don't want to go back and watch something that ran for that long.
Yeah. A lot of people that I talk to that I'm like, I just started Supernatural, I just started watching it, whatever, they're like, oh, you're in for a ride, it's good, the middle part kind of sucks, but then it picks it back up they're like, season, like, 7 through 10 or 11 kind of suck, but, like, 12 through 15 are just really good, and it's really good up until, like, season 7, and I'm like, man, I really hope it's not that bad, because I'm gonna watch it straight through. I really am. I'm gonna watch, like, my goal is, like, after each season to break it up by watching either a new season of a different show or a full series, depending on whatever I decide to watch.
So you haven't started season 2 yet?
No, I did. I started it, yesterday or the day before. Yeah, I'm only, like, 3 episodes in of season 2. Because I finished season 1 on, like, Thursday or Friday, and then, actually, about Thursday or Friday, and then I watched all of a different show on Monday while working, because I had nothing else to do. And then I started it yesterday, and watched another episode today.
Okay.
But yeah, it's good. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I love him as Negan. He's good as the dad. What's his name? John Winchester. The two sons, Sam and Dean, I can't remember their actors' names. I know it's Jensen Ackles and I can't remember the other guy's name.
I know the one is going to be on The Boys next season.
Jensen Ackles, who I think is Dean, which he kind of fits that if it is. I can't remember. I'm not sure, but they're good actors. It is the development over season 1 and even over the past 3 episodes of season 2. Like, they're actually growing and getting better. And it, like, the first season, I'm not saying is a hard watch, but it is a watch, but it's something that you can... It's a fine watch, and it's a good watch, but it's something you don't have to fully pay attention to. Whereas this one, it's getting better, and the characters are being more developed, and you're actually, like, more invested that, like, you're more willing to put the time in.
Okay. I know, actually, just because you mentioned Doctor Who earlier... there is a guy in Supernatural that is also in Doctor Who.
Yeah, I'm sure. I have 15 seasons. We'll see if I ever recognize.
So he is introduced, he's a series regular in he's recurring seasons 5 through 9, and then a series regular for 10 through 12.
Okay.
So he was on it from 09 to 17.
Okay.
And he was the American government guy in The Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon.
I don't remember those episodes.
So.
Oh wait,
yeah,
Day of the Moon. That's when the moon is a dragon, right?
No.
What is Day of the Moon?
So The Impossible Astronaut is the one where the doctor gets killed by River at the end. Like she's in the astronaut suit.
Okay.
And that's when you find out, like, who River is, if I remember correctly.
Right, okay, yeah.
It's been a long time.
It has. That's another show that I've been, like, kind of want to rewatch again.
But yeah, I remember that because people, when those episodes were airing, people were excited about that guy because he had already been in Supernatural.
Yeah. Okay.
But, yeah.
Cool.
Also, I had to look up I couldn't remember the guy's name, so I looked up Supernatural's Wikipedia. I didn't realize that Katie Cassidy and Lauren Cohan are also in Supernatural at some point.
I'm not surprised about that. Probably when they move to CW, because they like to use the same actors in a lot of things. But you know who is in Supernatural, at least in season 1? Mockingbird from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Adrian, whatever her name is.
Oh yeah, no, I see her there. She's a guest in season 1 and 2, it looks like.
Yeah, she, spoiler alert for the first episode of Supernatural, she is the girlfriend of Sam, and when Sam gets back to his dorm room after they go on the first hunt and through the first episode, she, is on the ceiling, bleeding through the chest, and then burns and is on fire the same way their parents were killed at the very beginning of episode 1. So, like, she's, like, a recurring theme, at least.
Yeah. So it looks like, actually, Katie Cassidy and Lauren Cohan are both, series regulars in season 3. So, before CW.
Wow. Not bad.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say about Supernatural, though?
No, it's solid. I like it.
Alright. Well, we got some casting stuff for some of those Disney Plus, Marvel series.
Yeah, I like them both. I'm very shocked at one of them, and I think the other one, well, they both fit very well.
Yeah, so the one that actually just got announced today is, we now know who's going to be playing Miss Marvel,
Yes.
Kamala Khan.
Yes.
It's newcomer, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Iman Vellani?
It's either Iman or Iman Vellani.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I couldn't really find much on her. She's Canadian, apparently. I just saw on another post.
Okay.
And she did describe... Well, apparently she's Canadian, but she described herself some point recently as a Pakistani-American Muslim, which is also what Kamala is in the comics.
You know, Canada's in the North America, so she is American, technically.
That's true, and she might actually be from the States and just moved to Canada for, like, acting, essentially.
Yeah. She has no IMDb credits, and as far as I can tell, her only social media is her Instagram, or her only public social media is Instagram, and it has one post on it, and it is her basically announcing that she is the new Miss Marvel.
Yeah, it looks like they did a lot of, like, casting calls and stuff like that to find somebody for the role.
Yeah.
So that's actually really cool that character is cast, and I know, like, the rumor or speculation or whatever is that character is debuting in a Disney Plus series, but they plan to move her to, like, the MCU movie proper.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's insane, like, her first credit is gonna be a Marvel feature. Like, how insane is that? Like, anybody who's been in any of these Marvel's movies, they've been set after. And now, like, her first credit is Marvel.
Also, though, keep in mind that, like, her first credit is a streaming service original, Marvel or not.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, this series could do terrible, and they never use the character again.
Yeah.
Like, I doubt it will,
Yeah.
but, like, we don't really have a bar to set the Disney Plus series against for Marvel, because none of them have aired yet.
Yeah. But I am excited to see her grow as, like, the role model she's going to become to all of, like, the Pakistani Muslim American, or Pakistani and Muslim girls, and girls in general, and, like, people that are going to look up to her. Like, I tweeted in reply to Kumail Nanjiani's tweet about her. I'm like, I'm excited to see the hero that she's going to become to some people.
Yeah, and that character, just even in the comics, is one of the most interesting characters that Marvel has had in years. Mm-hmm. Because even when she's not doing, like, the super heroic stuff, they're focusing on her as a teenager, dealing with the stuff that, like, somebody that of, like, the Muslim religion would have to deal with. Like, her parents aren't, like, overly strict, but, like, they definitely are very traditional with a lot of things. Yeah. And, like, her brother is very traditional, and, like, one of her friends at school is also a very traditional, like, Muslim. So, she is not.
In the Avengers game, when she makes her first, like, hero suit, Iron Man asks her, like, what is this? And, it is based off of traditional Muslim wear, like, Muslim garb. I can't remember what she calls it, and I'm gonna forget, like, I'm not gonna be able to look it up right now while I'm talking about it. But, like, she's, like, she tries to keep in that tradition of her faith.
And it's also it's a modest costume compared to what the previous Miss Marvel wore.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other casting, I completely forgot about this last week with all, like, the console stuff going on. They found somebody to play She-Hulk, or Jennifer Walters. It's Orphan Black star Tatiana Maslany.
Yes.
She's a really good actress.
I've never seen Orphan Black. I've really wanted to, but I hear good things about the show, and I hear good things about her that I like. I'm excited to see her as, Jennifer Walters. Yeah.
So in case you guys don't know what Orphan Black was, it's a show about cloning.
Yeah.
And she plays a series of characters that are all clones.
Yeah.
They look identical, but every one of them is portrayed so differently that you legitimately forget that it's actually the same person doing it.
Yeah, well, it's because it's kind of like the whole idea of nature versus nurture type of thing. Like, each one is raised by different people, and so they come up in different lifestyle.
Exactly. So, like the main one that like the show opens up with, she's like a street kid essentially.
Yeah.
Like, she's in like her like early 20s. She has a kid. Like, she grew up in like foster care. But she's also British. Whereas, like, the first one she meets after that is, like, a cop who actually kills herself. Mm-hmm. And then, like, one of them is a legitimate soccer mom from the suburbs. Yeah. And another one is this super, like, hippie-esque, like, science grad student. And just, every one of them has, like, their voices are different, their mannerisms are different, like, just everything about them is acted differently, and she does such a good job with it. That I'm super interested to see what she does as She-Hulk.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how they introduce her as She-Hulk, like how she gets her She-Hulk powers. Because I talked with Eric about this before, how like she can control it and everything because she doesn't get hit with the gamma rays. She gets like Banner's blood or whatever as a transfusion.
Yeah, she is in an accident, and her and Bruce are cousins.
Yeah.
And he is apparently, like, the only relative that is a match for it, because that's how that worked in the 80s, I guess, or the 70s.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, he sneaks in and gives her, like, a blood transfusion, and that ends up, like, irradiating her blood, and yeah, so I don't think that is not why she has control over it. But yeah, she can actually, she is not a rage monster.
Yeah.
So, like, when she becomes Hulk, present comics excluded, because they've done weird shit with that character, she has full faculty. So, like, she actually very rarely, like, de-Hulks. She just kind of stays She-Hulk all the time.
Yeah, like, she's a lawyer, and she's done full court cases.
Yeah, I mean, she basically stays the Hulk all the time. Like, yeah. That's her thing. Current timeline stuff, she doesn't, because she's actually more Hulk-like now. Like, she is not the same level of intelligence. She is more like your traditional, like, Hulk smash for reasons. But, Yeah, I'm interested whether they're going to keep her connected to Bruce that way. Or connected to Bruce at all. Outside of maybe like a passing, like, she becomes the She-Hulk because of his intervention with something. But also, like, how are they going to do that? Because, like, the Hulk is a super expensive character. Like with the CG and all. And to do a TV series like that is going to be incredibly expensive unless it takes more of she stays normal Jennifer Walters most of the time and is just the Hulk maybe like for small little bits of an episode.
Cobb, you forget they did it in like the 70s and 80s. There was that Lou Ferrigno show with David Bruce Banner. Yeah,
no, I don't forget about that. That was actually a very good show.
But like they could potentially use prosthetics, but that would probably be weird.
I don't think any amount of practical effects could make that look right because like I imagine, like, I think that actress is fairly small.
I'm not sure. I'd have to look her up.
I'm trying to see if I can find out real quick. Yeah, she's 5'4".
Okay.
And, like, She-Hulk's supposed to be over 6 foot.
Yeah.
So, you know, prosthetics are only going to go so far, and especially, like, she's slender. And She-Hulk is, you know, supposed to be, like, kind of bulky and muscular. So,
yeah.
It's going to have to be CG just like they do for the Hulk.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, like, how much do they actually lean into that? Or do they keep it the way a lot of shows do and sort of limit how much a character is in that form so that they don't have to spend the outrageous budget or potentially have subpar computer graphic stuff?
Yeah, and that is for like you said, for a character like the Hulk with how much you have to do CG, it is going to be a tough balance. I don't know. I'd be interested to see how they do, if they were to do, like, prosthetics and makeup and keep her Hulk, but limit the heroing, because, I mean, I don't know for sure, I don't know a lot about her character, but I know, like, her heroing isn't as, like, frequent as some of the other heroes.
Yeah, it is.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, she's been an Avenger, she's an Avenger right now.
Okay. I thought, like, I don't know, for some reason, I just thought her books were more focused on, like her professional life as a lawyer and shit like that, and not. I mean,
some of them. There was a recent She-Hulk book before they kind of made her Hulk-like, where it was almost more of a slice of life book.
Okay.
But like there was still plenty of times where she was out there, you know, like punching dudes.
Yeah.
Because that's just how that stuff goes.
Yeah.
And anyway, the last thing is a rumor at the moment. No one has been able to confirm or deny. But Sam Jackson might be reprising his role as Nick Fury for a Disney Plus series.
Good. I mean, he's still alive in the MCU, so I'm not surprised. Maybe it might not necessarily be a Fury show, but it might be like Sword.
Or he just shows up randomly in the different series.
I mean, that's possible too. But yeah, the Variety report, and like Variety is at least a fairly known source for this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're reporting that it's actually a series.
Yeah, I'd seen that same thing.
Focused on him. If this was like, we got it covered, I wouldn't have even put it in here because that place is a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
But like, you know, Variety actually has sources for this stuff. Nobody for anyone has, commented on it though. So like reps for Jackson or Disney or any of that.
Yeah. They're gonna be all coy about it for a while. Or they want to bring more focus to the announcement of Iman and being Kamala than they did Fury getting his.
I mean, also they might just want to get some of these shows out there before they start announcing new shows.
Yeah,
because like at this point they have 5 MCU shows.
Yeah, we're waiting on WandaVision. I think they still need to finish filming of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Falcon and Winter Soldier, because that got halted because of the virus.
Yeah, and then there's Hawkeye, there's She-Hulk, and Miss Marvel. So yeah, there's at least 5 Marvel shows, and none of them have aired yet.
Yeah.
So this one's actually just kind of funny. The Snyder Cut is getting reshoots after all.
I thought they said no reshoots.
They did. So originally he was going to get reportedly around $30 million to like cut everything together, finish the CG, all that fun stuff. It's now being reported that he's going to get upwards of $70 million to go back and do reshoots with Affleck, Godot, and Fisher. The original report said that Henry Cavill was going to be involved in the shoots too, but they've apparently said that he is not.
He probably still has his mustache.
No, you know what? I don't think he has a mustache right now.
I don't think he does.
I think they could get away with that without it being too expensive.
True. But I think that's ridiculous. Like, come on, guy. You already had it filmed. Why do you need to do that?
Well, so to be fair, every movie after principal photography goes back and does reshoots. Snyder didn't get to do reshoots. Whedon did them.
Yeah, I know.
Snyder can't use any of Whedon's reshoots because they're a completely different tone to the movie he was trying to cut.
Yeah.
So like this does make sense, but it's also incredibly expensive because this is going to be a 4-hour like quote unquote series.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was insane. Like an extra $70 million on a movie that like performed fine, but yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Anyway, Rich, you watched the Dragon's Dogma anime on Netflix?
Yeah, it's recently released. I think probably like last week or something. And it caught my eye pretty quickly that after I had finished the season 1 of Supernatural, I was like, let me just like palate cleanser, let me watch something else. And I watched Dragon's Dogma. It's only 7 episodes. It's only half-hour episodes. And it is fine. It is just, it is fine. Narratively, it's decent, and personally, I feel like it is a much better podcast than it is an anime. You can sit there and listen to everything and know everything that's going on, and for me personally, be fine with it. The animation itself was just weird and kind of janky, with this, like, hand-painted backgrounds, but CG character models, except for these kids and those kids at 2 different points of the show. But at one point, this hand-drawn and the CG characters talk with each other and actually interact with each other, and it is just the weirdest thing in the world. Like, why did you do that? The dragon's model is absolutely terrible. The dragon looks like shit, man. Like, I don't understand why they went that path with that, like, character model art style. Knights of Sidonia did the same thing with that art style, but they also used CG background. So it kind of fit better. And it was also like a mech show, so when the mechs looked great in that style. It didn't work. And like each of the episodes, they're based off of one of the 7 deadly sins. And like at the end, the last episode being called Pride really didn't work. The first and last episode names probably should have been reversed. But overall, it was fine. If you like Dragon's Dogma, you're not gonna like this, from what I hear. It diverges too much and like basically explains the same thing as the game. But because of that, I decided to play Dragon's Dogma. So I bought it on PS4 because it was free on PS Plus on the PS3, but I'm not re-hooking up my PS3. So it was less than $10, I think, on the PS4. So I started playing that. I'm like 2 hours in. It's pretty good. I like it so far.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. The anime is just weird. Because it's the CG models and the localization for English. Actually, I don't really know if it was in Japanese first. I think it was. But because of the localization and its CG models, there's like, it's next to impossible for them to lip sync everything. Because, like, you can't really redraw that or redo that very easily. And it's just like, yeah, there was one instance that I'm watching the show and I'm like, was that necessary? And it is episode 3. The main character and the 2 main characters run into a group of characters who are being attacked by goblins. And there's a woman riding a horse. And the goblins are attacking and the horse bellows or whatever and raises its front legs. And that woman falls off. And next thing you know, her boobs popped out. For no reason.
And that wasn't even the episode called Lust.
No, it was.
No, Lust is the next to last episode.
Yeah, so what is that one? What is episode 3 called?
Envy.
Envy, which, I mean, it works for that episode. But yeah, it's not even the episode called Lost. And her boobs just pop out. For no reason. So, like, I had texted a buddy who was telling me, cause, like, I told him I was gonna watch it, and he told me that it sucks. And so I'm texting him while I'm watching it, and I'm like, why the fuck did her boobs have to pop out? That's so uncomfortable. And he's like, dude, she brings them out later, too. And later she does, but she's trying to get it. And that's not uncomfortable, because that, like, kind of makes more sense that she flops them out. But, like, her falling off a horse and her boobs just come out. I'm just like, why? Why did you do that?
You know, I think it's funny that, you keep finding these Netflix shows that just have floppy animated genitalia.
Look, that was the one, that was one of, I guess you could say, 3 instances where there's floppy boobs. And
no, I'm not just talking about boobs though. Remember that other show you watched where, like, the weird robot dick was just flapping all around? It was some animated show that you watched on Netflix like a couple years ago. So I remember walking into your house when we were still able to record in person, and you having it on, and just thinking, "What the fuck are you watching?"
What was I watching?
Talk about this thing some more while I Google Netflix shows.
Oh, this is gonna blow my, like, weird flopping robot dick. Like, I don't know.
Just like I said, like, keep talking about.
So, for reference, Walnut, the show came out worldwide at the exact same time.
Love, Death, and Robots.
Oh, right. Love, Death, and Robots. That's a good one, though. That's a good series.
I'm just saying, you keep finding all these shows with floppy animated genitalia. Like, apparently we found your kink.
Apparently Netflix knows that I like floppy genitalia. Who knows? Who knew?
Animated
floppy genitalia, because that's just, it comes up to my suggested. Yeah, the show came out worldwide, but I think it was, like, Japanese, like, I think it was originally made in Japan.
Well, yeah,
then,
I mean,
but that's what I mean when I say, like, local, like, the animation for narrative and talking is, like, based off Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fine show. If you've never played Dragon's Dogma, I watched it. I was like, it was okay. It was fine. I enjoyed the narrative. Didn't really like much else. Combat was kind of boring. The end battle was fairly anticlimactic based on how they won. But it got me interested to play the game, and I'm a couple hours in already. The game's pretty neat so far. I picked a stealthy dagger using guy because I kind of always do that whenever I play these games. I like it so far.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a quick one. It's gonna be very quick. Did you guys see that they changed the way Peter Parker looks in the Spider-Man remaster?
I mean, I saw the headline, and that was
No, like, it is a startling difference.
Oh, I'm sure, but I have zero frame of reference personally, so I did not bother reading the article.
So they actually, in the tweet that I have linked on the outline, somebody, like, in the thread, there's a side-by-side of what he looked like versus what he looks like now. Like, I don't care particularly, and from what I just read from the game director tweeted out, they were actually because the technology is going to be so much more powerful as they make more games in this series. They were actually just looking for facial modeling that I guess better captured the voice actor. So I don't know if this new face actually looks more like the actor or not.
It definitely looks more like Tom Holland.
Yeah, well, that's what people are saying, that they think it looks more like Tom Holland. Definitely makes him look considerably younger.
It does.
Like, he's supposed to be in, like, his early 20s, and, like, he could easily be 16 or 17 now.
Well, in the original one, he actually looked like late 20s, whereas this one, he does look more mid to early 20s.
See, I would say he looks like a teenager.
Maybe.
It's crazy that they just completely redid the character model. It's not just, oh yeah, it's up-res, so it looks better. Like, the hairstyle is different, the facial structure is different,
Yeah. Personally,
it's very different.
For me, the hair looks worse. But it's also two different scenes, kind of, so it's hard to really tell.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah, that is interesting that they did that. That's weird, but...
Weird question, unrelated to this. Do one of you have your cats nearby that's, like, scratching or, like, playing with something?
Oh, yeah, I mean, Lincoln had just jumped down from somewhere.
And Vader's got the zoomies.
Okay, I keep hearing, like, what sounds like a pet tag, like, jingling?
Yeah, Vader has a bell on his collar, and he's got the zoomies.
Okay, I kept hearing it. I'm just like, I don't know what that is. It's probably a cat, but
It is.
I
It's a cat.
Yeah, just wanted to check.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just that they went all the way and changed that, and I think it's kind of funny that they did that for a game that, as of right now, you cannot buy standalone.
No.
It is only available if you want to spend $70 on the Miles Morales Ultimate Edition.
Is it 70 or is it 60?
It's 70. So the base game is 50.
Okay.
For just the Miles portion. To get the remaster, it's 70.
For some reason, I thought it was 40, 60, and not 70.
Yeah, the full version, because I think it comes with the full remaster plus the DLC. Like, I think it is the full Spider-Man game and DLC.
Yeah.
Which, like, honestly, like, $20 is fine for that. But, like, if you're gonna do a remaster and you're gonna do that kind of work to it, fucking release it. Like, just let people buy it digitally for $20.
Yeah. If anything, they'll probably end up releasing it for like 30.
Yeah,
So
I mean, that is almost, yeah.
Yeah, you get the bundle, you save $10. I'm just happy they didn't turn him into a puddle.
Yet.
Yeah. He might just be.
He could become Alex Mack at some point.
He definitely could. This is just a way for them to make an Alex Mack game.
Look, I mean, it's 25 years overdue.
Yes. For those of you who don't know, Alex Mack was a Nickelodeon show where a girl, I don't remember how, got the ability to turn into a puddle.
She's basically Daredevil without the blindness. There was like an accident. She got hit with a bunch of chemicals from the place her dad works, and she could levitate things, turn into a puddle, and had little electric shocks that could like turn lights on and off.
Yeah, that was a weird time on Nickelodeon because they had that Alien show as well.
Well, that came after the Alan Strange. I forget the full title for it.
Yeah. I just remember with Alan Strange, there was like an episode where like, is the light always on in the fridge? And they had him go through the fridge to see if the light was on.
Yeah, the journey of Alan Strange.
Yeah.
I mean, they also had Animorphs around that same time.
Animorphs was great for the one season that it was on.
Yeah, that was only a season.
Yeah.
Where'd the outline go? There it went. So, have either of you guys looked into any of the hands-on stuff that they've had for the Series X so far?
I have not, because I did not realize it was happening until they talked about it on the Bombcast today.
Okay, yeah, so like Digital Foundry has like a 30-minute one of their breakdowns of everything. I haven't watched that yet because it's 30 minutes. But I watched GameSpot, CNET, and Gadget's coverage of it, and it was all pretty much the same because they have very strict guides on what they can do right now. So these outlets got their hands on pre-release hardware, so it's not necessarily the final hardware, but it's like the right box and everything like that, so they can tell you like what it looks like. Just the innards might not be exactly what is available when they hit shelves. So they're only allowed to talk about backwards compatibility.
Okay.
The quick resume and load times, and impressions of the overall hardware.
Okay.
That's very restricting.
So, I mean, for what it's worth, Sony hasn't sent out PlayStation 5s yet, or if they have, no one is allowed to talk about them at all. They're not even allowed to say that they have them. People were at least able to say as of last week, I think, that they had the Xboxes. And then it was, I want to say it was Monday was when, like, the first embargo lifted for this side of things.
Okay.
So, apparently the backwards compatible library is actually pretty good so far. There's Xbox 360 and Xbox One games that are confirmed people have been playing on there. And apparently they're running well too, from what everyone's saying. And it's not emulation the way like the Xbox One was doing, where it was actually emulating a 360 to play 360 games.
Yeah.
It's actually native to the hardware, so the games can take advantage of the hardware, meaning, all games will have the ability to have automatic HDR. So if your computer supports HDR, the game will too.
Or certain games will TV.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, your TV. Some games will also support frame rate increases. So up to double the frame rates. So a 30 FPS game can go to 60, a 60 can go to 120. Mm-hmm. It's not every game though. Some games like The Outer Worlds are just locked at 30. That is what Obsidian did. They left it locked at 30. This way, it's a consistent experience across the board. Mm-hmm. One of the specific frame rate things that was in one of the videos was Michael Hyam at GameSpot. He was playing Final Fantasy 15, and he played it on Xbox One X and on the Series X, and he was clocking 40 to 50 fluctuating frames on the One X, and just a solid 60 on the Series X, which isn't a huge jump, but for it to just be at 60 consistently, for that's a big open game. Like, Rich, like, you played it, like,
Yeah.
he was running around, like, in, like, the open area. Like, he wasn't in, like, the towns or anything like that.
So he was in the beginning of the game.
I mean, basically the entire game until the end of the game.
No, it's literally the beginning. It's the first
10 chapters?
third. It's the first third of the game.
Yeah, 'cause what is it? I know chapter 13 is the one where everything gets weird. Like, you lose all your party members, you lose all your weapons and stuff for that chapter.
So the instant you leave the continent and go overseas and encounter Leviathan, from that point on, there's no free roaming.
Holy shit, is it? No, you know what? There is, but it's that weird, like,
it's the
time travel, whatever they call it. Like, the story for the game is locked to that path, but that's that's a ways into it by that point.
I mean,
it's been a while, but that's...
Yeah, if you're like me and do everything first. Like, I was overpowered for the last whole part of the game.
I mean, so was I, and I don't play like you at all.
It took me 3 hours to kill the fucking Adamantoise because I was underpowered for that, but overpowered for everything.
Yeah, I never even did that. But, yeah, so that game's running well, and, a bunch of other games that they kind of flashed in some of the different videos were running at, like, better frame rates, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
The load times, though, are the thing that I think is kind of insane.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the advantage of a solid-state drive.
Yeah, but, like, even just that, like, it's staggering some of, like, the numbers that people were having. So Jeff Bakalar from CNET, he tested, Control, which is apparently one of those games that has notorious load times. On a 1X, it took a little over a minute. I think it was like 1 minute and 8 seconds. On the Series X, it took 10 seconds.
Nice.
to load a save state from like from the main menu.
Yeah.
And then Jessica Condit of Engadget saw 3 to 4 times faster load times on most of the games that were tested. And then Michael Hyam at GameSpot actually had like a whole list of stuff that they showed on screen. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a 2 minute and 8 second load time on a 1X. It's a 38 second load time on a Series X.
Yeah.
And then the other biggest jump was Final Fantasy 15 went from 1:11 to 13 seconds.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah.
That's like one of the reasons why I knew a lot of people who migrated from PlayStation to PC for like Monster Hunter World was for the load times in general, because they could all have their solid state drives and were able to load like within 10 seconds rather than within a minute and a half when you were playing online.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And if they have good PCs, like, it's not just a solid state drive, it's their memory, it's their processor all working together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cause like, I deal with enough solid state drives, like, you put them in and you definitely get better performance, but if the rest of the hardware isn't up to snuff, like, the hard drive can only do so much for you.
Sure.
One of the other features that the Xbox has that I don't believe the PS5 is going to have anything like this, and I know PCs don't, is the quick resume. Have you guys seen anything about this yet?
No.
Alright, so you know how, like, right now, if you, like, hit the PS button or the Xbox button, you just go back to the main menu and the game is still running in the background, you can just pull it back up?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do that and then go to a different game, the previous game has to close. Quick resume actually lets you suspend multiple games and just hop between them in a matter of seconds. So it looks like you can have 5 to 6 games suspended at any given time. The only problem is it's all cached on the hard drive. So depending how much a game requires to cache, will kind of fluctuate how many games you can have suspended, it seems. Like, they didn't have, like, a hard limits. Mm-hmm. Some people were able to get, like, 6 or 7 games. Some people only got 4, so it was a little over the place. But it seems like 5 or 6 is, like, the sweet spot for it. Once you go over the limit, though, it seems like it just closes the previous game. But it doesn't tell you. So you want to be, if you're using it, you have to be careful because you might actually lose progress if you're, for whatever reason, jumping between too many games.
Yeah, it's
a cool feature. It's a feature I wish I had on, like, say my Switch, because I swap between Super Mario, 3D All-Stars, Animal Crossing, and Ring Fit Adventure constantly. Like, I wouldn't mind being able to just, like, alright, let's suspend this, go to that, instead of having to reload from title card, or to the title card every time.
Especially on a game like fucking Animal Crossing that takes 4 fucking minutes to get you into the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that would actually be a really cool feature on the Switch, because you could leave something like Animal Crossing or Ring Fit just suspended most of the time.
Yeah.
Because those are games that you're just gonna kind of check in on every day anyway.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this does seem like a cool feature, especially if it's one of those, like, excuse me, sorry. If you're playing something like a roguelike, where it's run-based. So, you know, you do a couple runs, you get kind of frustrated, you need a break from that. You can just suspend that and, like, go play Stardew Valley or something.
Yeah.
As just like a palate cleanser, like something to just kind of like wander around and do some menial tasks and calm yourself. Mm-hmm. And then you can just jump right back to that roguelike without having to reload the game or anything like that. So a couple of the things I saw in this, going from Ori and the Will of the Wisps to Red Dead took about 15 seconds. So it was just that they were in Ori, hit the button, picked Red Dead from the list, Red Dead came up, and they were playing Red Dead within 15 seconds. Some of the other reported times were 5 to 10 seconds between games tested, but not all titles will support it. The only one that was mentioned specifically was Firewatch, that Campo Santo walking simulator from like 3 or 4 years ago, maybe longer now.
Yeah.
That one apparently didn't support the quick resume, but every other game that was mentioned did. So like all like the big titles, Red Dead, your Controls, those are the only 2 that are coming to mind at the moment, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then there was the hardware. We've all seen what the Xbox looks like, and the controller still looks like an Xbox One controller. It's got the share button, and it's got an 8-directional D-pad instead of just the up, down, left, right D-pad.
Okay.
And then the triggers apparently actually have like a little bit of like a grip to them. Or not the triggers, but like the back of the controller, like around the triggers. It's like got like a textured, I guess, covering or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell from just looking at like pictures on the video and everything. They were also saying that the controller felt like it was a little bit smaller. Not in like a bad way, like it feels slightly smaller than an Xbox One, but when you put them side by side, you can't really tell the difference. But overall, like, I don't know about you guys, I think the Xbox One controller is, I mean, Xbox since the 360, their controller has been a pretty solid controller.
Yeah, they don't fix what isn't broken type of thing, like.
Exactly. I mean, Sony's mostly the same way, like, they've kept the same general format to their controller since 1995. It's Nintendo that can't make up their fucking mind.
Yep.
Yeah, but the PS5 controller has a completely changed look, doesn't it?
I mean, sort of. It's kind of looks like the change that happened from the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One controller.
Yeah, it seems like it's a little more spacey, is the best way I can put it. Like, everything, like, it looks like things are a little bit longer, but all the buttons and everything are in the same place.
Yeah.
Like, your analog sticks are still centered, D-pad and the face buttons are in the same space, and they're the same style.
Yeah.
Like, it's still, you can still look at it and be like, that's a fucking PlayStation controller.
Yeah.
Versus, like, if you didn't know your Nintendo consoles and you just lined up all of the Nintendo controllers, you're not going to know what the fuck is what.
Like, you wouldn't know that was the same manufacturer making.
Yeah. Yeah, like, if you had never seen them before and I showed you an original PlayStation 1 controller and asked you to pick out every other PlayStation controller in a lineup, you'd be able to do it no problem.
Yeah.
If I showed you a NES controller, or even like a Super Nintendo controller, and then ask you to pick out all the rest of the Nintendo controllers, you're just going to fucking look at me and tell me to go fuck myself.
I mean, even Xbox controllers have been relatively standard.
True.
Like,
That's true.
at least once, especially once they switched to the controller S on the original Xbox.
Yeah, because I mean, the Duke was just a monster.
Mhm.
And they have really only changed, like, small things here and there. Like they got rid of the black and white buttons.
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that. But, yeah, I've always liked the Xbox controller, and that's why every other company that makes a controller for their device seems to use that as the model. Like, your Switch Pro controller looks like an Xbox controller. Your Stadia controller looks like an Xbox controller. I believe the Steam controller looks like an Xbox controller, doesn't
No, it does not.
Right, the Steam controller is the one that has, like, the touchpad for a D-pad, is it, right?
Yeah, it has 2 touchpads, 1 analog stick.
Right, I forgot about that.
It still has the ABXY buttons and the same colors as the Xbox controller, and 4 shoulder buttons, but otherwise, like, it's got the weird touchpads and 1 analog stick.
Yeah, I forgot that one was as weird as it was.
Yeah.
I actually saw somebody online arguing that this is coming up later, but Amazon announced their game streaming platform, and they revealed the controller, and it looks like an Xbox One controller. Well, it looks like an Xbox One controller and a Switch Pro controller kind of like merged, because it's got the button configuration of the Xbox One, but it just has that, like, Nintendo sort of look to it. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, so I really like the Pro Controller, but, like, the Pro Controller looks like plastic, if that makes any sense. And I feel like the Xbox One controller looks a little more solid. And this Amazon controller looks like the Switch controller, but with the layout of buttons of the Xbox, Series X controller.
Yeah.
But somebody was arguing about that, going like, because, like, somebody said, hey, look, they just used the Xbox design. And this person's in there be like, well, actually, they used the Switch Pro controller design, which is also, every Nintendo controller ever made just kind of put together. Because I think somebody, like, followed up with that with, the controller that Microsoft has been using since 2002. And, like, their argument was the format of, like, the Xbox and the Switch Pro controller is a combination of the GameCube controller, the Super Nintendo controller, and the Wii Pro controller. And I couldn't fucking wrap my head around it. Like...
Yeah, the thing is, when it comes to controllers, it's kind of the same thing with music. There's only so many iterations you're gonna have before they all look the same. Like...
Tell that to Nintendo, motherfucker.
But again, look at their Pro controller. And, in Nintendo's defense, you could say that the Wii U controller, like the touchpad, you could kind of say that, like, the whole controller part kind of based off the 3DS. Like, but also the Wii had a Pro style controller, which you could use for the Wii U. So, like, it is all like those are the similar style.
Wasn't this is actually a real question because it's been a long time. The Wii Pro controller is just the one that looks like a Super Nintendo controller with analog sticks, isn't it?
No. It's been a while since I looked at it.
Yes. Or wait, no. Wait.
It's rounded.
So there's two. There's the classic and then so the classic controller just looks like it's a Super Nintendo controller with analog sticks in the middle. There's also one apparently that has, like, the wings on the side of it.
Yeah.
But either way, like, they both kind of look like Super Nintendo controllers.
And then the Wii U, I guess, had a Pro controller of its own as well. But, like, their Pro controllers, like, they're system proprietary controllers, I guess you could say, use the same basis as pretty much every other controller, except, like...
I mean, it looks like the Wii U Pro controller looked more like took the PlayStation into account.
Yeah.
Whereas now they go the Microsoft route.
Yeah. And, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, you're not wrong. There really are only so many ways you can lay out a controller. Yeah. Unless you're Nintendo, who's just like, who needs buttons?
Well, no, like, I disagree with that. Like, they did what they did with the Switch now because it's for handheld and at-home play.
I'm not arguing about the Switch, but, like, so go back to N64, where the entire left-hand side of the controller was useless. Nobody ever used the D-pad or the L button.
That was before controllers have become what they are now.
I mean, that's still... But then Like, I
The
mean,
Wii controller,
But
the Wiimote, and Nunchuck.
they were focusing on motion controls. That
No,
was their system
I know.
proprietary controller, but then they came out with this other controller that you could use for other games. I used this Wii Pro controller for when I played Monster Hunter Tri on the Wii. I wouldn't
You're
use...
acting like I'm shitting on Nintendo. I'm not.
No.
I'm just simply like you're arguing that like, but they have this. I'm just saying like they just do whatever the fuck they want. Like that's all. Like that their console specific hardware is just like, yeah, just fucking just let a 12-year-old draw a picture and we'll use that as a controller. They're Nintendo.
They experiment with certain things, but all I'm saying is in the end they do go with that per controller styles.
At some point, it's just it's never the console controller.
yeah, like you could literally never own one of those controllers for.
Like you don't, Rich. You don't own a Pro controller for your Switch.
I don't. I don't.
You're going to probably because you want it for Monster Hunter, though,
Yeah,
right?
I'll probably get it for Monster Hunter Rise. But no, I don't own one now. But I also don't feel like I absolutely need one. I have these weird stubby sausage fingers that make me comfortable with the Joy-Con grips.
Always some sort of complaint with you.
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
So the last thing that I saw for the Series X though, is that it is apparently surprisingly quiet to the point where I honestly forget which video this was in, but whoever was talking about it, they'd been playing the Series X a whole bunch, and they then went over to play their PlayStation, and the noise of the fan on the PlayStation actually startled them. Because it was just, like, the PlayStation fans are very loud. Like,
dude, my PS4, I try to not play that as much as possible sometimes because it's so loud and my room warms up so much from using it.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the launch and the Pro are incredibly loud. I have the Slim, which really isn't that bad.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, like, you can hear it when there's no other noises going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so apparently whatever they did with the hardware, they managed to make it quiet.
Nice.
Whether that means it is going to die like the 360 did, who knows?
Let's hope it's not that.
There's just no fans in it. Everything is just on fire all the time.
It is just a fire. That's it. It's not things are on fire. Like you turn it on and it's just a fire.
It's just a furnace inside. It just lights itself.
They tell you put this in your fireplace whenever you're going to play it because it's going to warm your house up.
Yeah. And then, like, the thing I have noted on here at the end, like, a lot of this does bode well for the PS5. You know, the hardware specs on the two systems are similar. Mm-hmm. So, we should see load times that are close to the same in games that are playable from the previous generation.
I mean, it is what Sony has touted basically the whole time with the PS5.
Exactly. And then on top of that, hopefully, for whatever games are backwards compatible, hopefully it's like the Xbox and it can take advantage of the hardware and it's not being like emulated or something weird.
Yeah.
Cause, you know, having these games locked at, 60 frames or whatever would be great for people that notice that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
well, actually, real quick before we move on.
Yeah.
There is one potential thing about, and it could be because of the suspend resume or not, but apparently the Xbox Series OS is like 200 gigs.
Really?
Yeah, people were saying that the usable hard drive space on the One X's they have is only like 800 gigs of the terabyte it's supposed to have. So that potentially means on the Series S, which only has a 512 gig hard drive, you might only have 300 gigs available, which is like 2 games.
Yeah, and so the one thing that we have to remember too is this is like the prototype hardware, so it could be different come
It could be
release.
Mm-hmm.
Like they may have just not taken into account any like shrinkage. Like honestly, the prototype hardware could have all of the patches or whatever stored on it, whereas a good operating system would delete old data that it didn't need as it was iterated on.
It's entirely possible, but that is the reports going around, is that the OS on that thing is 200 gigs.
Which, I mean, completely fucks people. Like you said, for the S, like, that totally fucks everybody.
Yeah.
Anyone that gets an S is just, they're having a bad time after that.
Yeah, I looked it up, and according to IGN, which this was updated yesterday, it was 802 gigabytes of usable storage spaces in its built-in 1 terabyte solid state.
Which you figure after a solid terabyte drive is formatted, it's like 940-ish. I think it's been a while. But speaking of storage, have you guys seen the proprietary expandable storage for the Xbox?
No.
So it's a custom NVMe drive that like will plug into the console, almost like a flash drive, but not USB.
Okay.
It's going to be $219 for a 1 terabyte of these things.
That's nuts.
Is it though?
I don't know. I don't buy this stuff that often, but it sounds nuts.
So that's the thing. People are like having a fit about the cost of this. And like, yes, if you have a Series S, that's a lot of money. At that point, if you're going to buy that, just buy the fucking Series X.
Yeah, because
you've wasted time.
Because
or money.
If you buy the Series S at $300 and then buy the expandable drive at $219, you're paying more money than you would have if you just got the Series X.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And if you get this expandable drive, which is Series X, is $500, you're spending a little under half for an expandable drive. Like, to me, that's insane.
So I just looked a little bit of this up. A 1 terabyte Samsung Evo 2.5-inch internal solid state drive retails at $150. So that's like the physical drive that looks like a hard drive that plugs in with like a SATA cable and everything like that and slides into like a drive bay in your computer or laptop.
Mm-hmm.
$150 retail. A Samsung or Western Digital M2 NVMe drive, which are the like basically the computer chip drives that plug directly into the motherboard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those retail between $179 and $250 for a terabyte. So $219, not that outrageous.
Yeah, I mean, the outrageous thing is you have this entire system, next gen system for $500, but your expandable hard drive is half of that price.
So this is only if you the One X and S support USB drives also.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be a 3.1 drive. But, like, still, you can get multiple terabytes of those for, like, reasonable amounts of money for external drives. The other thing is
But then you're not, like, you have to deal with the hassle of, like, unloading and offloading games onto and off of the system to actually be able to play it.
So, only on Series X games, which I realize, like, that's the whole point of the console. But, if you have a terabyte USB drive, you can play any Xbox One games, including like the One X enhanced stuff.
No, you can't play can you play the X enhanced the series?
Yeah, so it's only the Series X content. Xbox One X will play over a USB drive.
Okay.
As long as it's a 3.1, it's got the capacity to send the data.
But you're also then probably not getting those load times that we just talked about.
No, exactly. You're definitely not at that point. Those should still be faster load times because the console itself is powerful, and USB 3.1 it's fast. It's a fast transfer rate. Yeah. And the drive itself should also be a solid state drive, so, like, Red Dead Redemption 2 shouldn't take 2 minutes to load. It should maybe take 30 seconds, 40 seconds, which is still quicker.
Well, I mean,
it's not 15.
It's probably not going to take. It takes 40 seconds to load on the actual system. It'll probably take a minute 15.
Well, no, Red Dead Redemption 2 took 15 seconds to load, didn't it?
No, it took 38 seconds, according to what you have in the list.
Right, sorry.
It took 15 seconds to swap from a different game after it was already loaded.
Yeah, that's it. But if you have a terabyte console for your Xbox One X game, or your Series X games, and then you put your old games that you might want to play on a USB drive, like, that works. And you don't have to necessarily do all the transferring back and forth, and it's cheaper than $220.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, an NVMe drive, ballpark 200 for a terabyte anyway.
I mean,
depending on, like, the speed of it.
Yeah, I don't know the speed of the one I was just looking at, but, like, saw a Western Digital one for $100, which, in theory, you're going to be able to just buy that and pop it into the PlayStation 5.
Probably, but
that
we
is
don't know
what they
either.
have said.
I thought they didn't confirm that they were going to let you change drives.
No, they also have a port to pop NVMe drives into.
Oh, okay. I actually hadn't seen that.
Yeah.
But so, and the one other thing with this thing, it's a newer version of an NVMe drive from what I understand. So it is faster than a lot of the ones that you'll see on like Amazon right now. I don't know how much faster. I don't know if it makes a noticeable difference, but I don't think the 219 is that outrageous. I also don't need an extra terabyte in a console that has a terabyte. I don't need to store 15 fucking games on a console at any given time.
I mean,
or one if you play Call of Duty.
Well, that's the thing I was about to say is like, I don't know, like, game sizes are going to drastically expand. Like, Call of Duty is 200 gigs right now, and that's not even with 4K assets in it.
Yeah, and that's a problem. That's a developer issue. Like, that's... Who made this one?
Oh, I don't fucking remember.
Treyarch? Is
probably.
Black Ops Treyarch?
Well,
this isn't Black Ops.
this
Next
isn't
year's
Black Ops. So, no, I guess this was Infinity Ward, because it's Modern Warfare.
Yeah. That's a problem on them. That game should not be that big. At all.
There's a fucking lot of shit in that game, dude.
There is, but I'm just saying, like...
I mean, also, in its defense, I don't think all that shit was available from the beginning. That's from all the DLCs and shit like that, like...
Well, they've also patched it once a week and basically force you to re-download the whole game. Like, that entire game is a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
Like, it's from a, like, data standpoint, not from, like, a gameplay standpoint. I'm sure it plays fine. But, yeah. I mean, I've got... My Xbox One is 500 gig. My PlayStation is a terabyte. Occasionally, I'm close to capacity, and I just delete a thing that I'm already done playing. Like, it's not... Like, it doesn't impact me. The idea of people needing their entire game library downloaded all the time, like, I just can't wrap my head around that.
Well, I mean, like,
go ahead, Ball.
I have a boatload of shit installed on my system right now. My PS4. But it's like, it's all stuff that, like, I was either actively playing or am planning on playing. Like, for instance, I still have, do I still have, 1.5, 2.5? I think I still have Kingdom Hearts 1.5, 2.5 on there, but I had already finished that. Or no, I'm still playing one of them. That's right, I'm still playing Triple D. I think. But
yeah,
like,
you never finished Dream Job Distance.
But, like, I have Resident Evil 7 loaded up on there, because I plan on playing that soon. I have, Kingdom Hearts 2.8 and Kingdom Hearts 3 both saved on there because I eventually plan on playing them. Like, I save things that I plan on playing on my system, but, like, I don't save everything on there, and I try to delete things I don't plan on playing. Like, I still have Final Fantasy VII saved on there, and I want to go back and platinum it, but I don't see when that's going to happen.
Yeah, like, I think I still have that on mine too, and, like, I still have The Last of Us on there. And I think I also have Kingdom Hearts installed on mine. But I'm not out of space on there either. So I haven't, like, as soon as I run out of space and need to install a new game, I'm just going to delete one of the older ones that I finished already. Like, I don't need Last of Us on there. I finished it.
I think I actually deleted Last of Us 2 because I had no plans on going back to it, and I needed the space, because that game took up a lot of space.
It did. And it's just, there are people who have this weird need to just have all of their games available all of the time.
Well, I mean, here are the two considerations. One, the network speeds, most explicitly Sony's, download speeds fucking blow.
Oh yeah,
no matter how good of
a
internet you
network.
have, like, it sucks downloading PlayStation games most of the time.
Yeah.
And
All of
two
the time.
are data caps, like, in a lot of areas. And I guess three, shit internet in a lot of areas. Like, it's not so much necessarily always wanting to have access to all your games at all times, but the ability to relatively quickly then go back and access something, you know, that you've gone and deleted and decided, oh shit, I want to go back to that now.
Yeah, it's like it's like wanting to have the disc tray for the system because you want to be able to play your disc games. Like, I have all these disc games because I like the quick access to it. Whereas, like, Bloodborne, if I were to want to play it right now, I'd have to put it in. I'd probably still have to download it, install it, but I'd be able to just put it in and play eventually. Like,
I mean, you're going to have to put it in, it's going to install and patch. It's not...
Yeah.
The disc drives are
you
kind
can't
of
play
meaningless.
games quickly anymore.
But, like, that's the point I'm trying to get at, is, like, in the PS2, PS3 era, PS1 era, like, you had all your games with you, and you could just play them at any point, and you'd store them with you. Like, I understand people wanting to store everything and have it all accessible, But, like...
But at that point, that's where a USB drive comes in. Because USB 3.0 is fast enough that if you want to play a game that's stored on there and you want to play on the hardware, like Droo said before, like, you just move it. Like, you go in and you just say, move to console.
Look, and I'm going to use myself as an example. I haven't played Ring Fit Adventure in over 2 weeks because I don't want to swap out the cartridge from Nintendo or from Mario All-Stars to Ring Fit Adventure. Do you really think people are going to want to go through the hassle of having to swap over from one to the other to be able to play their game that they might only play for 5 minutes?
But that's the thing, it doesn't, it actually takes less effort to do that than to change a cartridge. Like, if you have a USB drive just plugged into your console, all your games are just sitting there available. If you want to take advantage of the hardware, you just simply tell it to move to the hardware. You don't have to get up, you don't have to open a case, like, it's all just there.
But then you have to wait for it to move over, then you have to wait for it to update. Whereas if you have this proprietary drive, which I'm assuming will just run everything and run all the updates in the background, hopefully. I mean, playing games that you haven't played within the past 2 weeks sucks nowadays. Because most of the stuff doesn't auto-update the new content anyway.
That's true. Hang on one second, I'm just trying to figure something out. That doesn't help at all.
What are you trying to figure out, Cobb?
I'm trying to figure out the conversion between gigabits and gigabits per second. 1 gigabit is that. God, I hate math. I really hate math. It's the absolute worst.
We don't have to worry about this. We can move on.
I'm just gonna type 5. Okay, so 10 gigabits is about a gig. So USB 3.0 has like a 1 gig transfer rate. So it should transfer a little over 1 gig a second.
Yeah.
So like moving a 100 gig game isn't going to take that long. It should take 100 seconds, theoretically.
No, yeah, it theoretically should take 100 seconds, but then it's also, depending on the game and the time frame, since how long you've played it, it's gonna need to update and things like that as well. So it's just, I don't know. I can't even remember how we got into this discussion.
That update argument is going to happen whether you have the stuff installed on the hardware, installed on the proprietary expansion, or installed on a USB drive.
Yeah.
Well, I think his argument about moving it off if it's stored on a USB hard drive, maybe that game's not pulling updates like it would if it was installed on the actual system. And now
the Xbox doesn't auto-update games. Or at least the one doesn't.
Okay, well then that's super shit anyway. Like,
yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it auto-updates itself either. Like, every once in a while, like, I'll turn mine on and I'll have to actually install the updates, whereas the PlayStation always just does it on its own. And
yeah,
I could have something set wrong on it, but I have, like, the quick start for my Xbox, so that, like, you know, kind of like the PlayStation sleep mode, where I hit the power button and it comes back up really quickly.
Yeah.
Anyway, Droo, you played Hades.
Yeah, I bought that game 2 days ago. I've played for 15 hours.
Nice.
I guess you bought it on PC?
Yeah. It runs fantastic on my 8-year-old PC, which, I mean, shouldn't be too surprising. It's not the most, like, super taxing visuals. Like, it's not some crazy tons of particle effects or whatever going on, but it looks really good. I mean, it looks like a Supergiant game. Their games...
It doesn't get any slowdown or anything like that with some of the, like, when the screens get a little crazy?
No, I mean, the game, at least nothing I've gotten to, really gets too crazy. A couple of the bosses will kind of have a move that's a little bit bullet helly that you're trying to dodge through, and there's zero slowdown when that comes up.
Oh, nice.
Like, the only times there are slowdowns are when you die or kill the boss, but that's like a set animation that it's cutting to. It's not like the game is slowing down to catch up with whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, plays so smoothly. There are 6 different weapons. There is a sword, a spear, a shield, a bow, a pair of gauntlets, and a gun. Every weapon has, like, your normal attack, and then they call it special. So, like, the sword is, you know, it's a 3-hit combo. If you tap the button 3 times, you do, like, swipe, and then a thrust that will push enemies back, at least by default. and then the special, they jump up and slam the ground and hit an area around them. You have what they call cast. It's on the B button by default on the Xbox controller. It's just like magic arrow shot. It'll home a little bit, and you can upgrade abilities to make enemies take more damage when you've hit them with that. But as you're going along, you are playing as the son of Hades, the god of the underworld. It is all Greek mythology, and you are trying to escape the underworld. It's unclear exactly why when you start. You start to learn a little bit more about why you're trying to run away. I'm still not 100% clear on why he wants to run away and leave the underworld, but the gods of Mount Olympus are trying to help you along your way. So you'll find different orbs that will be one of the different gods: Zeus, Poseidon, Aphrodite, Athena, Hermes.
Okay.
And I want to say there's like 2 more. Dionysus and the archer. I can't remember her name.
I heard Dionysus's like special power or whatever is like drunken, like alcohol poisoning or something like that.
Yeah, like you. So they all have different abilities. Like Zeus, obviously, you'll get an option between 3 different things every time you find one of the orbs. Each god has even more options than that, but only 3 will show up when you find one of their blessings. So Zeus's are all lightning-based one. Ares, all of his are a status effect called Doom, for the most part anyway. So you'll hit someone, after a couple seconds they'll take another hit of a bunch of damage. Dionysus is, it's called Hangover, his status effect. It's basically poison damage. Like, nice. You'll hit them, they'll take 2 damage every half second, and then it'll stack up to 5 damage. Or, whatever, the different ability might start at a higher base damage rate, The archer gives you a lot of stuff that does critical hit damage. Poseidon does, like, knockback on most of his stuff. And, like, you start to learn what the different gods give you as you're going along. Because as you complete each room, there might be 1 or 2 different exits that will have a symbol for what you'll get when you complete the next room. So you might have a choice between, here's a room that will have Aphrodite blessing, or more gold to use at a vendor when you find a vendor. Or there's a hammer that changes how the different weapons will work a little bit. Like, it'll change the special to be from, like, just a standard, like, shield throw with the shield to now the shield throw does 400% damage against the enemies that are armored, or whatever. Something like that. Or, like, the spear, you can have a choice that, now it does 3 stabs out in front of you instead of just 1. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that. And so, you're trying to escape hell. And it does a lot of good stuff about explaining why the shit is always random. It's because Hades has made the underworld a puzzle to prevent people from just escaping. So, like, it makes sense for why it's a roguelike. Yeah. As opposed to just, you died and start over.
Yeah. That makes sense. That game looks freaking awesome, and I want to definitely get it, and I'm thinking about getting it, but probably not gonna for.
It's on Switch.
It is on Switch, and apparently runs really well on it. So,
and that's where, honestly, that's where I would get it, is on Switch. This way I could, like, play it handheld while I'm watching something or whatever.
Do it.
Look, I've got so much fucking shit to play right now. Like, I already listed off a ton of fucking games that I haven't even touched and have owned for a while.
Abandon everything and just play 15 hours of Hades in 2.5 days.
Look, we'll see how things go over the next couple of weeks. And
it's $20 or $25. I think it might be $25.
It's literally not the price. It is me just, like, I have other shit to play. Like, it is, like, I'm playing Avengers at least once or twice a week. I just got Dragon's
Dogma. That's your mistake right there.
Get rid of your Avengers 1 or 2 plays a week and just do runs of Hades instead.
Avengers, especially with people, is so much more fun. And it is, and eventually, I think they're supposed to be incorporating a raid soon that I'm going to be trying out and things like that. But like, I really enjoy playing Avengers. I play that like I said, once or twice a week. Plus, I just bought Dragon's Dogma. Plus, I want to play Resident Evil 7 before Resident Evil 8 comes out. Plus, I still need to finish all the fucking Kingdom Hearts games. Like, I just have so much to play. I have not pre-ordered a single game for my PS5 yet.
Oh, me either, but...
Like, I plan
Me
on...
either.
If I get one, it's gonna be Demon's Souls, but I plan on probably not buying one for a while. And just...
You're not going to get the Miles game?
Eventually, I will. But, like, I'm literally buying the PS5 to have a stronger system. Like, my PS4 is weak and heats up really hot, and, like, for me personally, I feel like it runs games like garbage. I want a PS5 to have the system to play the current games I have better, and to be able to play the new games coming out. But right now, I just want to play all the shit I have and beat it before I think about buying something new.
I mean, at least the Miles game, if you decided to get something new, is not a full-priced game.
No, but, well, yeah, I probably wouldn't even buy I'm thinking if I were to get Miles, I would just get the upgraded version to have the remastered Spider-Man, but I'm not sure about it.
See, I don't think I would do it because I don't need that game again.
I don't either, and since I'm getting the disc system, I have the discs for Spider-Man, so it's off, like, I'd be able to play it anyway.
Isn't Spider-Man also part of the PS Plus thing? The game collection?
I don't remember, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was on there. So you don't even need the disc. If you have PS Plus, you can just play it.
Like, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys, and you're going to hate this, and I should just wait until we talk about it later, but we are still going to talk about it later. I might play Monster Hunter World more often with the PS5 than I do now with the PS4. Because
you're disgusting.
The load times are going to be worlds better, and it's going to be like...
But it'll still be the same bad game.
No, we'll talk about that later, because you said little teaser, you understand the appeal.
No, so if you read what I said, I can understand why there's an appeal, but I still think it's a bad game.
And just like I can understand why there's an appeal for Stranger Things, but I think it's a bad show.
I mean, you're just broken and you don't like things that are scripted, so...
Yeah.
It's almost like they're boring.
But man, grown men hugging each other. Good shit.
Yep.
Anything else you want to say about Hades?
It's really fucking good. Everyone should play it. Like, it does... I really like roguelikes. Like, I've played a shit ton of Rogue Legacy. I've played a shit ton of Dead Cells. This one is easily the best story in a roguelike. Like, there is a story. Also, always pet Cerberus. Because you can. You can pet the dog.
Good. That's good.
Speaking of petting the dog, make sure you guys go to the Google Doodle for today. You can. It's about the history of the bobbing head dogs in cars, and you can pet the dog and hearts come off his head.
Okay then. So just keeping in the roguelike camp, I've been trying Dead Cells over the last week-ish.
That game maybe very less. Fucking good.
It's on Game Pass, so I downloaded it. I've been playing it kind of a mixture between actually on the Xbox and then just on my phone over xCloud or game streaming, whatever they're calling it now.
Mm-hmm.
It is actually. I am not good at it, but it's fun. Like, I don't know that I've made any actual progress. I have unlocked 2 things. I know one of them is the ability to make the tickle vines grow.
That's very important for progressing in that game.
Okay, it was that, and the other thing was the stone statue things. I can teleport between them.
Yep, that opens. That's the vast majority of the traversal system early on.
Okay.
I guess
otherwise...
the only other thing you don't have that super opens up areas is the ground pound that you can break through certain floors.
Yeah, because I definitely found a floor that was showing it like it should be breakable, but I couldn't break it, so that makes a little bit of sense. I have gotten some blueprints for weapons and all that I just haven't been able to fill out all the way. I've made it to different rooms regularly.
Okay.
I passed through that area where you can trade in your cells and get mutations and all. I have gone to a sewer. and I forget what the other one was called, but it was like, it's outdoors. It has like the samurai dudes that like zip around when they actually are like fighting you.
I'm pretty sure that's the promenade.
Yes. Yeah. I've had that one 2 or 3 times, and I think I've only had the sewer like once or twice. I don't believe I found any bosses yet.
No, you are... Well, so from the promenade, if you go one direction, you're like 2 rooms away from the first boss. Or I guess 1. So it's the promenade, the next area, and then I'm pretty sure you can... the boss is right after that. And then the sewers, I think I guess also... That one might be 2 rooms then the boss.
Okay.
And they are different bosses.
Okay. Yeah, because I know I only managed to... You know when you get to that interstitial room where you can trade in the cells?
Mm-hmm.
There's like those couple of doors that have like the stipulations to unlock them.
Yep.
I've only gotten to go through one of them once, and it was the kill 30 enemies without taking damage.
Okay.
And then I went in there and I didn't quite grasp what was going on, and I picked the wrong item. So that sucked. Like, I was just trying to see what the item actually was, and I ended up picking it instead, and I really didn't want it. I wanted the other thing. Like, one of them was like a sword, and the sword was better than what I had.
Gotcha.
But I thought it was going to be like when you purchase weapons from like that one vendor dude.
Uh-huh.
Where like, you can pick it up, and if you don't like it, you can swap it.
Right.
But that was not the case, so I was stuck with the shitty thing I picked up instead of the good thing I wanted.
Was the thing you picked up another item, or was it the upgraded collar?
It was another item.
Okay.
It was like an attack item.
Gotcha.
I didn't realize there was like an upgraded collar, so...
Yeah. Those usually drop off the, like, elite enemies.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like I said, I'm bad at it. I think it's got like a fun pseudo-narrative. Like, there's not really a story like what Hades seems to have, but...
No.
It's got some the humor, I guess, would be good.
Yeah. Which there's a lot of... I mean, Hades has 300,000 words of dialogue in it.
Yeah, this has no voice acting like you know, but like, the character gestures when somebody is talking to you are usually kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, if I remember correctly, at one point you find, the guard that keeps talking to you and telling you, like, hey, it's weird that this place changes every time, isn't it?
Yeah.
You find them dead at one point, or I did at least, and if you, like, loot them, like, the animation is just kind of funny. Like, if I remember correctly, you kind of, like, kick them over and their stuff falls out, and the character just kind of, like, shrugs.
Yeah, that character does a lot of shrugging at things.
Yeah, it's humorous, though. Like, it's timed well.
Yeah.
And it's that, like, look at the camera shrug, which I think is what sells it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is really cool. Like, it has a nice style. Like, it plays really well.
Yeah. I think if you keep playing it, you will get better when you start to find a weapon that you really like.
So I like the swords and the crossbow. I especially like the crossbow that shoots 3.
Okay. Like, shoot, like the kind of like a spread shot.
Yeah. Yeah, because that one, especially for enemies that kind of like charge you and explode, like the regular green guys.
Yeah.
It does a lot more damage at a distance than the regular bow does. But I haven't gotten a sword that's particularly powerful compared to the frying pan.
Yeah, the frying pan was kind of ridiculously powerful.
But like the frying pan has just like the reach is a little less, and it's a little bit slower than the sword.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm constantly like looking at it, I'm just like, all right, that's it. The frying pan is a big enough upgrade that it makes sense. Mm-hmm. But if it's close, I'm sticking with like a weaker sword instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it more so than I've enjoyed any roguelike in the past. But I'm also making like, it's not much progress, but it's a little bit of progress.
How much do you roll?
Like when I'm like attacking?
Just in general.
I mean, if I'm in combat, I roll quite a bit because you roll through the attacks.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, I roll a lot when I'm playing that game.
I jump a lot. Like I'm the type of person that I just jump everywhere I go. I also try to climb everything. Like I try to get on top of everything and jump from that. Honestly, like what I should do is change the control layout, assuming I can. Cause
pretty sure you can. 99%.
I'm sure you
can on PC.
Yeah.
So
I don't see why I couldn't, but I just don't want to assume. And I should actually probably put the roll on a different button because it being on B and then like attack being on X, I think.
Yeah, the attack are X and Y, jump is A, roll is B.
Yeah, okay. So like I feel like if I were to like throw the roll on maybe like a shoulder button instead, it would be a little more roll all the time and attack easily.
I mean,
like, not that it's hard to attack, but I just feel like I would spend more time rolling because I wouldn't have to move my thumb to do it. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way it's default laid out.
It's not bad. I probably don't roll in combat as much as I should because I'm trying to get those extra hits in.
I mean, the thing is, though, you can't roll and attack at the same time. So
exactly,
and the roll is long enough where it's not like you have to roll with like down on the D-pad, but you have to push the D-pad with your right thumb. Like they're right there, and the animation, like I said, it takes long enough where you're really never like, oh shit, I rolled and now I'm too slow to push the button to attack.
I think it would actually be the opposite for me, where I attack longer than I should, and that extra second of moving your thumb, or a fraction of a second, is just enough to fuck me.
Yeah, I mean, it's more, I mean, that's more a getting used to understanding how long your attacks take, and reading the enemies to know
definitely
when to give up the attack and dodge. But also, like, you can, like, stun lock enemies on a lot of hits if you hit them at the right time.
Yeah, so that's what I try to do, especially with like the big like bloater looking things that throw like the bombs at you.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the samurais too, because those things are a pain in the ass. Just like they're the ones that get me the most often. Are like those samurai guys that like they don't teleport, but like they're essentially teleporting.
Yeah, those you gotta, like, wait for them to attack. What I usually do with them, if I don't have a good ranged weapon, anyway, is I wait for them to attack and roll through them and then just murder the shit out of them.
That's what I try to do, but I don't have, like, a good feel for the game yet, so a lot of times I will roll, like, late, which then rolls me too far away from them, and by the time I get back up to them to attack, they have also moved again, so it's just...
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of getting patterns down, is what a lot of it is.
Mm-hmm. My general strategy in that game has been be aggressive.
And honestly, that's what I've tried to do, because I haven't really gotten far enough to, like, be all that concerned if I die or not.
Mm-hmm.
And, the game gives you decent abilities to restore health.
Yeah.
Like, between, like, the upgrades that just bump your health out and occasionally restore some of it, and the fact that, like, I purchased the health potion thing where, like,
mm-hmm.
I can use it once in the beginning of the game, and then when I go through that first set of doors, I get a refill on that and my health, and then I can use it again.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, moving along from the roguelikes, mentioned it a little bit before, Amazon announced their Luna game streaming service, which is going to be like their Stadia or xCloud.
Mm-hmm.
It's invite only right now. I signed up, I did not get invited, but who knows? Maybe I will. The introductory pricing at the moment is $5.99 a month, and it seems like it's going to be similar to xCloud, where there's like a set library of games to play. They will add and remove from it as time goes on. They're partnering with Ubisoft, so there will be like Ubisoft games available through like your Ubisoft has that their own subscription service that I think is going to tie into it. It doesn't seem like it's going to be an additional cost though.
That's
like if you buy
not what everyone. Well, what everyone seems to have been saying is like there will be a separate channel for the Ubisoft games, and you'll have to pay that add-on fee to be able to play the Ubisoft games.
So I'm just going by what Amazon's actual page had, so that's possible. Their page is not very detailed. The one thing that I did get though is the games that are available for early access in the library are Resident Evil 7, Control, Panzer Dragoon, A Plague Tale: Innocence, The Surge 2, Yooka-Laylee, Iconoclasts, Grid, Abzu, and Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. So it's actually a decent lineup depending on like what sort of games you want to play, ranging from, Brothers is a PS2 game or a PS3 game, and, Control came out last year, I think, or was it 2 years ago? No, it was last year.
I have played 2 of the games on that list. One of them is really good. It's Plague Tale. Abzu I just didn't get.
You played Brothers, didn't you?
I have not played Brothers.
I could have sworn you did.
I don't think I did.
It's the game where like you control the 2 brothers, like one with each analog stick.
No. Nope.
Okay. Yeah, no, for some reason I thought that we had talked about that before and that you played it. Also, I enjoyed Abzu, so fuck you.
I'm not saying I didn't. I didn't get it. I'm not saying it's a shitty game or anything. I didn't get it.
It was just like a cool, like swim around the ocean game.
I was bored. I went into it hearing like, oh, it's really good. It's so cool. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, all right, I don't get it.
It's kind of like Journey or Flower or any of those where it's just there's not a lot to it. You're just kind of exploring and seeing things, and it was just a very well done game for what it was.
Yeah.
So real quick, the Amazon website actually explicitly says there is a Ubisoft channel. That's what they call it.
Okay, they didn't have that when I looked at this last week.
And that is the Ubisoft game channel will include new and favorite titles from Ubisoft, including the Ultimate Edition versions for select titles. The Ubisoft channel will provide you access to play on one device at up to 4K resolution for select titles. So it sounds like the Ubisoft games are in their own thing that is separate from that $5.99 a month.
Yeah. The other thing that I couldn't quite get a read on was, so this platform is called Amazon Luna. The service that they're charging $5.99 for, though, they're calling Luna Plus. I'm not sure if that means that it's going to have like a Stadia option where you can just buy the games at cost and play them through the cloud service. Because like you don't need to have Stadia Pro or whatever it's called to play Stadia games. You just need to buy a game and have an account. So I'm not sure if that's going to be this service or if their branding is just weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean it's on AWS, which is cool because that's one of the most robust cloud platforms out there.
You're telling me the Amazon service is on Amazon Web Services? No. No way. How shocking.
I'm just simply saying, like, the fact that they can run it on their own service, like, bodes well for its usability. Like, fucking everything runs on AWS. Everything. Except for Microsoft. They have their own shit. I think Google has their own thing, too, but I would not be surprised if Google at some point uses AWS.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure Google runs all their own shit.
I'm sure they do for, like, all the Stadia stuff. I just mean in general. I would not be surprised if Google had, like, an AWS environment doing something somewhere for something. We were talking about this earlier, but the controller, excuse me. Sorry, I had to sneeze. The controller looks like an Xbox One or a Switch controller, but it's only going to be $50.
Nice. Not bad.
Yeah. Considerably cheaper than every other fucking controller right now.
Yeah.
At least at the moment for, like, the early access, it's, set to run via browser on Windows 10 and Mac OS. It'll run on some specific models of Fire Stick on your TV, and you can use it on Safari on iOS platforms. There is no Android version yet, but they are apparently going to have one soon.
I wonder if my 8-year-old iPad mini could run it on Safari.
It needs to probably be a specific version of iOS that's running on there, and your 8-year-old iPad probably won't update to that version.
No, it won't. I stopped updating that iPad in 2 years after I got it. There was either A, no space, or B, the updates would take weeks, wouldn't be able to.
That seems about right. The other cool-ish thing that they're doing with it is the Twitch integration.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have this platform, or you want to have it at least, if you're watching somebody stream a game that's available on it, you will be able to actually launch that game directly from that Twitch stream.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're watching somebody play Control, and you're like, oh, that game's really cool, I'd like to play that, there's apparently going to be just a button on the page that you can click on, and it'll just load right into Luna.
Okay.
Which, that's neat.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be another one of these cloud streaming platforms. I kind of hope I get into early access, because I'm curious what it's like, but I don't know that I would actually subscribe to it, unless it got a particularly good lineup of games.
Yeah.
Have you guys played Among Us at all?
No.
I have not. I think I might have some sort of plans to play it with a bunch of people in the future, but I have not. I've seen a ton about it, and I want to so bad.
So, it's free on Android. It actually plays really well. You can either do like, the virtual analog stick, which is what I do, and it works better than other games have done that. Like, it feels comfortable to play that way. Or you can just do like the point, like the touch screen, like touch where you want your character to run.
Yeah.
It's like a social deduction game.
Yeah.
Like, one person is an imposter, everyone else is like a crewmate. Or you can have more than one imposter if you want to. You can have up to 10 players in a game. I think minimum you need is 4. And yeah, you run around in different sort of locations that are like a spaceship, a landing pad thing, and some sort of a volcano base. Mm-hmm. And you're running around doing tasks to survive, like fixing wiring, setting shields, stuff like that. And then the imposter is going around trying to sabotage things and murder everybody.
Yeah.
And anytime somebody is murdered and the body is found, you report it, and then it becomes one of those, like, everybody discuss amongst themselves who they think the killer is. If you're playing with people, like, in the same room or, like, over, like, a chat service, you're not supposed to talk while you're doing stuff. You're just supposed to, like, do your shit, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then when it comes time to actually do the discussion, if you're dead, you're not supposed to talk. You stay silent, because you know who kills you.
Yeah.
But in the game, if you don't drop out of it, you're a ghost. So you can see everybody else. They can't see you. You can see all of their chat, but they can't see your chat. So if there's like 3 of you dead, the 3 of you can be having a conversation in the chat the whole time.
Yeah.
But you can also continue to do your tasks once you're dead. So you can help try and get the crew members to win. Because there's 2 win scenarios for the crew. It's either find the imposter before the imposter kills everybody, or complete all of the tasks.
Yeah.
So if you complete all the tasks and people are still alive, you're good, you win. So it helps for the ghosts to not drop out of the game and do their tasks. I played a bunch of it just with random people, and it generally goes pretty well. I had one game where the person was definitely, like, playing on PC and had hacked the game somehow. Cause the game loaded and they immediately killed everybody and won.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, cause the game has there's a timer for kills. So the imposter by default, I think, can only kill one person every 30 seconds. So this way, if you're not stealthy about it, you can't just, like, kill somebody and then kill another person in the same room. You have to wait until people are sort of alone and segregated. Yeah. Otherwise, they're going to catch you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't... Sorry, go ahead.
The game looks, like, super fun and silly. I would much rather play it with people I know.
That's
just
how I feel about it,
people.
too.
Like, I would much rather, I have the werewolf game, the werewolf card game where it's, like, every night everyone goes to sleep and then somebody dies and you have to figure out who the werewolf is. Like, I would much rather do that with a bunch of friends over, like, Discord while playing the game together, and just having a good time that way, instead of, like, playing just with randoms, which I'm sure is fine and fun, but, like, it makes, I don't know, I guess it might make the game more difficult because you wouldn't know those people's tells and things like that. I don't know, I super interested in the game, but just not really interested in playing with random people.
So this is coming from me, who doesn't like playing games with people at all, whether I know them or not. Playing with random people is actually totally fine. I haven't had any real problems with it at all. If you can play with like people you know, either, like you said, like over like Discord or like a voice chat thing where you guys can actually, like, discuss when it's time to discuss, or if you're, like, all at the same place and you're just playing local, that works too. But I think just hopping into games, because, like, games take less than 5 minutes, and, like, running around doing your tasks, getting into the chat, and, like, if you find a dead body, be like, found them in the med bay, like, I think it was such and such. That person will either, deny or try and, like, pass the blame onto somebody else. And it'd be the same if you were playing with friends at that point, because, like, if you're the only one that finds the dead body, then there's nobody to sort of, like, back you up. Whereas if there's 2 people, so, like, if the 3 of us are playing with, like, some other people we know, and, like, Rich, you and I are both in a room when we find a dead body.
Yeah.
But say I'm actually the imposter and I killed the dead body, but I report it too. I can be like, hey, I found it. It's in this room. I saw Richie here though. Like, he is also in this room. I think he's the imposter. They can vote you out, and they'll jettison you, and you'll die. But there's also a chance that as soon as that round's over and you're not the imposter, that somebody we know just goes over to the there's an emergency meeting button that you can also hit.
Yeah.
That just hits that and go, well, it wasn't Richie. It's probably Cobb. Let's eject him now too.
Yeah.
And like, that can happen whether you're playing online with strangers or with people you know. I'd argue it's probably more likely to happen with people that you know.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like, playing with you guys, you would just eject me first no matter what every time.
Well, because you're always the imposter.
I'm never the bad guy in these types of games. Like, think back to any time we've played these social deception games. I've never been the bad person.
I don't know that I believe you.
Well, that's your fault.
You would always be Hitler in Secret Hitler.
We did play one social deception game at your house once. I can't remember what it was.
I think we played Avalon.
Yeah. And
but,
I don't think I was the bad people.
You probably weren't, but, Drew, you and Sarah were over that time with Sean and Lauren, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was the 6 of us that played Secret Hitler.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. I was just trying to keep that straight. But yeah, Among Us, it's been out for a while. It's cool, though. It's crossplay between PC and mobile, too, which is nice. And it definitely does not have crazy requirements for PC.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was actually, I checked. I am able to run it on an Azure VM that is pretty underpowered.
I'm sure, like, mine and Drew's PCs can easily play it.
Especially if Drew can play Hades, he can 100% play this.
Yeah.
It runs on a cell phone.
Yeah. Exactly.
Granted,
And, like,
my
it
cell
runs
phone's
well.
probably more powerful than my PC.
That's fair.
Yeah, true. I think my
Anyway.
cell phone might be equally as powerful as PC.
I don't know about that. Anyway, though, Pokemon Sword and Shield Crown Tundra DLC info happened. Rich,
Yeah.
did you watch the video?
Every time I, like, sat down and, like, looked at the outline, so I was like, I gotta watch it. Never fucking watched it. All the information I really cared for was that it comes out on the 22nd.
Yep. So October 22nd is when you'll be able to do it. Some of the stuff they announced, just like we knew already, every single legendary Pokemon will be available. You'll go into the dens to explore the tunnels, and that's where you'll find the legendaries.
Yeah.
As you're exploring the tunnels, though, you'll actually run into other Dynamax battles.
Okay.
So the raid battles. The wording on the video, I couldn't tell if it was like, you have to make a party to go into the tunnel, or if every time you find one of these things, you'll need a party to do it. But you know how they've been with that stuff all along, is like, they're pushing people to play with other people.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping that whole tunnel system works the way that they do now, where if it's a raid that's like 3 or less, you can just solo it with NPCs.
Yeah.
But if it's 4 or 5, you can just ad hoc search for people.
Yeah.
Or ad hoc join people. So that this way, like, if somebody is in a 5-star raid for like a Lugia, they can just look for people, and I could potentially just join a 5-star raid for a Lugia.
But we saw how wonderful that worked with both the initial launch and the Isle of Armor.
Oh yeah, no, it's garbage, but
it's not going to work. It's definitely not going to work.
Yeah, but because like otherwise, like if that's not at least an option, if like you have to go in like with a party to begin with, I'm never doing any of the tunnels.
Yeah.
Like, you're the only person I know with this game that has the DLC.
Yeah. I know enough people that have the DLC that I'd be able to do it. But it's just like, to get all, like, the 4 of us together, like, I had a tough time getting me and one other friend together to do some raids so that we could, like, boost our teams and stuff like that. The raids are a cool idea, but the connection with the Switch, the connecting to games and other people on the Switch, just so bad. That, like,
Yeah, no, it really is.
the network just won't work. So hopefully they found some way to fix that.
Man, there was what was potentially a very funny tweet that ended up just being fucking photoshopped, and it's a bummer.
What is it?
So somebody posted on a Facebook group what appears to be a tweet from last night from CD Projekt Red, where it says, "It's official. Nintendo Switch users will be able to play Cyberpunk 2077 next November 19th. All they have to do is buy a PS4, Xbox One, or a PC." And I'm just like, that is cheeky enough that I could see, like, a developer like them doing it. But I just went and looked, and they did not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a shitty tweet for a developer to put out.
It is, but like
that's some Don Matrick early Xbox One shit. Like, I don't think CD Projekt Red would have actually did that.
I mean, honestly, like that's like a Devolver Digital tweet. If
yes,
anything.
That is a Devolver tweet. If this was a Devolver game, I would believe that tweet.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So Pokemon. Rich, you're right. Like, it's going to be a shit show, but like I hope it's at least like there's at least the options for it. Otherwise, yeah, like I'll never see one of these. I'll never even see one of the Larrys, let alone get one.
Yeah.
They also there's going to be like a new. Like, there's obviously the new region you go about, there's, like, new characters, and they give you, like, a task to do and all that fun stuff. There's also going to be a new tournament that's going to take place at, like, the Pokemon Stadium thing from the end of the game.
Okay.
Where it's 2-on-2 battles. It's called the Star Tournament. The way that they said it, you'll apparently be able to pick your partner from, like, any of the trainers that, like, you met throughout the game.
Okay.
So, like, your rivals, the gym leaders, all that stuff. It seems like anyone's fair game. Which, like, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. I've always hated the 2-on-2 battles.
Oh yeah, no, they suck, especially if you have Hop.
Well, it's not even, like, you and somebody else. It's, like, even you having two Pokemon battling somebody else's two Pokemon. Like, I don't like that. I hate it so much. And the fact that, it was forced on you from one of the gym trainers, I was just like, this sucks so
the Dragon
much.
Trainer, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it was the worst and probably hardest fight in the game was getting his badge.
Oh, I didn't have any trouble with it.
I did. I beat him in my first try, I think, but like I almost lost. And it's because I wasn't expecting it to be a 2-on-2 and I didn't have a good second starter.
So you didn't read the text because he tells you it's a 2-on-2.
Yeah, he tells you it's a 2-on-2 as you're saying let's go do it and he's like it's a 2-on-2 and you do it. Like,
and isn't the battles you have leading up to him are all 2-on-2, if I remember correctly.
You don't have battles leading up to him.
Yeah, you do, because they're down at the, they're not in the gym. Like, they're at the museum or whatever the fuck it is.
I don't remember. It's been a while, but just like, I hate that fight.
It's been almost a year.
Yeah. I hated that fight, and I hate 2-on-2 battles in general. The fact that 2-on-2 is the norm for, like, official Pokemon game tournaments, it drives me nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the 2-on-2, but they do not bother me the way they seem to bother you. But yeah, so, I mean, this is at least like a new thing to do in the game.
Yeah.
Which is neat. They also announced that Pokemon Go will finally get, Pokemon Home integration later this year. So you'll be able to move Pokemon from home, or from Go to home, which I guess people want to do, because you can move your Pokemon Go Pokemon to home, and then potentially move them into Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
So that might be the way to get your legendaries if you can't catch them in Sword and Shield.
At least whatever ones you've gotten from Go.
Yeah,
definitely.
So just like with Pokemon Go and moving Pokemon to Let's Go Pikachu or Eevee, you'll get the mystery box afterwards.
Yeah.
And that will spawn Meltan in Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
But if you transfer a Pokemon, you'll also get a mystery gift in Pokemon Home on the mobile app that will let you get a Melmetal in Pokemon Sword and Shield that will be able to Gigantamax.
Can you breed this Melmetal to get a Meltan?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because technically it's a legendary.
Yeah, sure.
But I thought that was actually kind of neat. That,
it
like,
is.
Just transfer a Pokemon to home and, like, you don't need to pay or anything like that. And you can get a Melmetal.
Yeah.
In Sword and Shield. I just want to specify that. And then the last thing that they really brought up, to celebrate all of this, they're releasing 8 different Pikachus, each with a different one of Ash's hats. Which I didn't realize Ash has worn 8 different hats at this point.
Yeah, I think he changes every couple of seasons.
I think it's every season, actually.
It's been more than 8 seasons.
I'm sorry, not every season, every
region. Yeah.
So the first one's already available. It's wearing the original hat. It's code based.
Okay.
So like in Pokemon, I guess you enter the code, and I haven't done it yet. The first code is Pikachu get, but the I is replaced with number 1.
Yeah.
And I guess this either gives you a mystery gift or something to get this Pikachu with a hat.
Yeah.
they didn't really say on the stream where you'll get the other codes. So I don't know if Nintendo is just going to, or the Pokemon Company will just release them over time.
I mean, it might be, it'll probably be released over time, or, like, across, like, you might get something from Pokemon Go, you might get something from, who knows, you never know with Pokemon Company.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm excited that the DLC is coming, and that it's coming kind of, like, late-ish. Like,
yeah, it gives me time to, like, catch up on some of my games, like I was saying, be prepared for it, maybe, like, start back up in Pokemon, remember, like, my party and everything, and get used to it again. Like, it gives me time to get ready for it.
Yeah, I'm also excited to get the Galarian Snow King, or Slow King, not Snow King. But yeah, it'll be cool.
Yeah.
It's been, June, July, August, September, four-ish months?
Yeah.
Since the last one? Which, like, that's a good gap. Like, it's not story DLC, so there's nothing to really, like, remember. And it's Pokemon, so you should be able to just jump back into it and do things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Rich, you like, Stardew Valley, right?
Yes.
You might like this game Spiritfarer.
Yeah, I've been super interested in it. We actually talked about it to, Nintendo,
Directs?
Yeah, but the shit,
Partner
not the
Directs
indie,
or the
Partner
minis?
Directs, the Partner Direct minis. 2 Partner Direct minis ago, they had that on there, and I was like, I want it, I'm super interested in it, not gonna be able to play it, so I'm just never gonna progress.
Yeah, it's a little expensive too on the Switch. It's $30.
Yeah.
It seems like it's worth, like, there's enough to the game to be worth it, but, like, a lot of people won't necessarily drop $30 on, like, an indie game, which this definitely has an indie game vibe to it. But I definitely think you would probably enjoy it. I've been playing it, exclusively on the Xbox streaming. Like, I've only played it on my phone so far.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. Like, the animation and everything is really good. If you're not familiar with it, it's a game where you become the boatman, the ferryman, essentially. You literally meet Charon, I don't know how to pronounce his name, from Greek mythology, the ferryman that takes you across the river Styx to Hades.
Yeah.
You actually replace him. At the beginning of the game, you roll up in a boat, and he's like, oh, hey, look, you're finally here. I'm gonna go cease to exist now, so this is your job.
He does way more talking in that game, apparently, than he does in Hades.
Oh, yeah, no, like, it's like a few minutes of dialogue from him, too.
In Hades, all his dialogue is just like...
Okay. But, so, you're this girl, Stella, and you have your cat, Daffodil, or Dandelion, I'm sorry. And you both basically become the new Spiritfarer?
Yeah.
Cause, like, the existing guy, he gives you, like, this orb thing that's, like, the light, I forget the name of it. It's basically a light thing that you can turn into tools. So, like, every time I need to do something, I pull out this little ball, and it becomes the thing I need to use.
Yeah.
But your cat then runs into his cloak and brings its own out. So you both get one. It has local multiplayer, where a second person can actually play as the cat.
Mm-hmm.
But if you crouch down and hit the interact button, you hug your cat.
Oh.
Yes, it's very sweet. So you start the game with a decent sized boat, and it basically becomes a management sim, but with a narrative and a little bit of platforming.
Yeah.
And, like, puzzle solving.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you have to get resources. So you have to go to islands and, like, get wood and stones and seeds and stuff like that. And then you can build up your boat. You can build different structures on the boat. And you can stack them and move them around and all sorts of stuff. But you have a specific amount of space you can build things. And then as you get more resources, you can go to a dude who will then increase things on your boat, so you can build more and your boat gets bigger and all. And the whole time you're also going to these islands and finding people that need to get ferried onto the afterlife. But you don't just pick them up and then take them to the afterlife. They hang around for a while. And, like, they have unfinished business, essentially. And at least the first 3 that I've gotten are like, all have a history with your character.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's going to be the entire course of the game, or if that's just kind of how they're... I'm still basically in the tutorial, because they're still teaching me stuff as I go. But it's been very interesting and relaxing, and it's probably going to get emotional at some point.
Yeah, it's one of the things I said when back when we talked about it originally, was I don't think I'm ever going to be able to play it, because I'm never going to progress and drop them off onto the afterlife. Because I'm just going to be like, oh my god, and just cry the entire time. Like, I'm never gonna want to get rid of my companions.
Yeah, no, I mean, that does sound like you. And I feel like some of them, so your first companion is like this deer person.
Mm-hmm.
Gwen, I believe her name is. She's fine, but she's also kind of an asshole. But like, she's one of those assholes that knows she's an asshole.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's gonna be like a mixed bag. Like, I'm gonna be sad when she has to move on, but it's also one of those, it's like, you've been kind of demanding and a little annoying, so like, maybe it is time for you to go.
Yeah. I love the art style of this game. Like, I love how it looks. And that's like the main thing pulling me towards wanting to get it. Is just, it looks so good.
It does, and the animations actually look really good too.
Yeah.
Like, even just like jumping into the water. Cause you can, so it's got a system where it's got a day-night cycle. You have to manage the people on your boat, so you have to give them food and hugs and shit like that. And you have to like water the crops when you build your garden and your fields.
Yeah.
And some things have like little mini games. So at one point you learn that you can play this song, and if you play it to your plants, it actually makes them grow right away rather than it taking like a day or two to cycle through them.
Yeah.
But that whole thing is like a slow version of Guitar Hero. Like, it's literally just, it's scrolling to the side and you're just hitting like the button prompts as they come along. And if you play the song all the way through, your plants grow all the way. If you only want to grow them a little bit, you can just hit B and end it early.
Yeah.
But you chart courses to wherever you want to go. Like, you don't have to pick an island, you can just have it take you to the middle of nowhere. And while it's going, if you jump off the boat to swim, like, the boat just stops until you get back on it, and then it starts going again.
Yeah.
You can fish while it's going. Once it becomes nighttime and dark, the boat won't move anymore. Excuse me. So you either have to go up to bed or just hang out and like fish and stuff until it's morning.
Yeah.
And then you have to ring a bell to wake up the people on your boat, or they'll just keep sleeping and get angry at you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like it's super clever the way they've done a bunch of that stuff.
Yeah.
And at least, I don't know if it's going to get to that like hectic point where there's too many things to keep track of. But so far, it hasn't gotten to that point, and I'm enjoying it quite a bit.
Yeah. I'll have to check it out sometime.
Yeah. You threw on here that you funded a Kickstarter?
Yeah, it's called One Lonely Outpost. It is basically Stardew Valley on Mars.
Erica mentioned this to me.
Yeah, I saw it on, I got an ad on Facebook, and I had noticed it like a few days ago, and there was only like 5 days left, and this was on like Thursday, and I was like, oh shit. And then 2 days, yesterday, last night, or the night before, I was like, I gotta just do it. And so I just funded it. I didn't do early access or anything. I did base funding, so $25. Should get it in 2022, but it looks really neat. I forgot to write down the name of the studio that's making it, but look up One Lonely Outpost. You probably can't do anything for it now, but keep an eye out for it because it looks really cool.
Okay. Yeah, I am super hesitant when it comes to games on Kickstarter. They just don't seem to happen in any sort of time frame that they say they will.
Yeah.
It's almost like making games is incredibly hard.
Yeah, but hopefully them giving like a 2-year window that, you know, they at least come close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And this is the end of the show. Like Richie mentioned earlier, it's on Xbox Games Pass, so I tried Monster Hunter World.
Yes.
Like, I tried it legitimately, not just the demo that was out before that Richie gave me a hard time because I didn't touch enough weapons to make an opinion.
You gave it the college try.
Yeah, so I played about 4 to 6 hours, I want to say. I definitely did 3 quests.
Only 3 quests in 4 to 6 hours. That's kind of short. That's not a lot.
So I was on an expedition for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. You can be on those for a long.
Yeah, and then like
because monsters will just continue to spawning. After you kill one, some will come out. Another one will come out. I think it's every 15 minutes. One of the monsters will leave if you don't fight them or interact with them, and a new one will come in.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But also like before you even get your first quest, there's probably like an hour of randomness.
Yeah, there's like the intro to the game and shit.
Like, it actually had way more narrative than I realized it would at the the opening of the game.
So that is something that's relatively new to Monster Hunter games. Like, prior to Monster Hunter, probably generations. No, maybe 4. Like, it had some semblance of a narrative, but it was really just like, oh, we're being harassed by this monster. We need you strong enough to kill it. And then you eventually kill it, and it's like, oh no, there's this other monster that's actually making things worse. We need you to kill it. And then you go kill that one, and that's the end of the game. Whereas, like, Generations 4 and Generations and then World have built up kind of like an actual story, like, as to why you're doing what you're doing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, the only other Monster Hunter I ever tried was the PSP one, like Freedom Unite or something like that.
Yeah.
And that one just starts, like...
Yeah. It literally, that's how Monster Hunters were up until about, I can't remember if it was in 4 or if it was just Generations. It might have been both. But, like, until then, like, it used to just be, you go in, you do your shit, and you're done.
Yeah, but, so, like, I killed some lizard things, I killed a bigger lizard thing, I killed, like, a bird.
Let's see. Lizard things would be, what are they called? I can't remember.
They're like little yellow lizards.
Yeah.
They started with a
Yeah.
J.
Jaggeroth, and then...
No, I think that was the big T-Rex looking thing.
No, the big T-Rex thing is, Anjanath, which we call Angela, because when the game came out, there was that song Angela that was really big, so anytime I was chasing after it, I would just sing the song, Angela. No, it is like Jaggy or Jagra.
It was a very short name, and there definitely wasn't a TH in it. I don't remember what it was though.
It's Jaggy, and then the bigger lizard would be just like the Great Jaggy or something like.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. And then like an ostrich crossed with a dodo that kept picking up rocks.
That is fuck.
It had like a 2-word name, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it is. I might have actually said the name to you when we were talking about it the other day. It's been a while since I played Monster Hunter, and like the early monsters, I don't remember all of their names because you don't fight them that much. But yeah, I know that one that you're talking about too.
But other than that, I tried every single weapon. Like I went into the training thing and I switched to every weapon. Some of them feel slightly better than others. They all feel kind of bad though, and like varying levels of bad. I really don't like that. When you're attacking, you just kind of move through a thing. Like, that just, I know you don't understand, Rich, but like, Drew, I know you had the same feeling with it. Like, there's just something about the combat that doesn't feel like you're making contact.
And like, I get that to an extent because I don't use the sword and shield because the sword and shield is so weak and you're just constantly slicing that it doesn't feel like you're doing anything. I understand that, but like I said, like, you don't like the bigger, heavier weapons, and those are the weapons that you get more of that feel that you hit things with.
But so even with the big weapons, I think you're misunderstanding. Like,
I think so too, Cobb.
Because it has nothing to do with like only doing a little bit of damage.
No, I know what you're saying. When I use like the great sword, the big heavy sword that has the charge attacks, and I hit something, there's a quick instance. But I notice it. The game does do that, like, or the character does do that, hit, and then continues through. Every time with the heavier hitting weapons. It's the weaker weapons, the weapons that are made to attack fast. If you're getting that quick hit every time, it's gonna slow you down.
No, so like, I was using the 2 swords, or whatever they're called.
The dual blades.
Yeah. And I'm fighting something and I'm just passing through it as I'm attacking it. Like,
it's almost like the monster is just a hitbox.
Yeah, like you're just clipping through the monster as you attack.
Yeah.
Like you yourself or your weapon.
My whole character is clipping through the whole monster as I'm attacking.
So like, looking at the monsters that you fought, Anjanath, the Great Jaggy. It's not Jaggy. I can't remember what it is, but I know what one you're talking about. The big lizard guy. Like he can become bigger and fatter. Look, I don't know. I think I understand what you're saying, but like it's never been a negative for me. But I don't run and gun in the game. I
wasn't trying to run and gun either. Like, it's just, and you have admitted this before. Like, you don't notice any sort of like differences. You don't see games when they have bad combat. Like, you said that. Like, you were very open about that. this game feels... It is the worst feeling combat I can remember in a game.
Yeah, I mean, like, if that's... Again, that's your opinion, and I'm not going to... I'm not attacking you for your opinion. It's my whole thing this entire time, always, because you guys rag on me for liking this game, is you gave it the college try. The beta wasn't enough. You didn't try enough weapons. You didn't try enough. Now that you've, like, tried enough and you put some time into it, you gave it the college try. You don't like it. That's fine. But it was it's not a game for you. Like, you don't like the combat-based games that I like the Bloodborns, and you don't like...
So, the problem... So, just to kind of bounce off of that, I don't like Bloodborne because I'm very bad at it. Like, I think Bloodborne is actually a very good game, and the combat feels good. I am bad at it. I can't do it. I can't make progress in it. I get too frustrated. I'm one of those people, like, I get... Like, after doing the same thing like 3 or 4 times, I just can't do it anymore when I'm not making any progress at all.
And if you were to play long enough in Monster Hunter, there would probably be a point where you would get to that point. Or I really feel like it might be like the big yellow lizard. It's one of the easiest fights to do, and literally, like, he's so, like, over incumbent and like so weirdly shaped that it's kind of like you do clip through him. Like, I do know, like, he'll swing his tail or something, and maybe at one point, like, or like he'll do his roll and he'll hit you, but then kind of roll over you, or you'll clip through or whatever. But, like, that's also...
So I had the same happen with the smaller versions of him, with the bird thing, and with the big T-Rex guy. It was the same experience across the board. I also think that, so whatever version is on Game Pass, I believe it has Iceborne attached to it. Is that what it's called? Iceborne, right? I didn't just make that up?
No, that is the expansion.
Okay. I think they broke the beginning of the game. So they gave me armor that is significantly better than anything I can make for...
Yeah.
Probably for the foreseeable future.
When Iceborne came out, they released, like, the newbie armor or whatever that you wear, and you basically wear that through all of the intro part of the game to get.
It's called, like, the Guardian armor.
Yes, and that gets you, like, that should be good enough for you to get you to Iceborne. I don't know what its skills are. I don't know what it does. I just know that they made that specifically for players who are new to the game to be able to get to Iceborne and play the new stuff that they'll be putting into and adding on to from Iceborne.
Okay, yeah, because I went back and I'm just like, oh, well, I wonder, I killed a bunch of stuff. Can I make, like, a new helmet or something with that? And I looked at it, I'm like, oh, this is a significant step down if I do this.
Yeah.
Guess I'm just going to keep rolling with what they gave me for free.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that they did that. But if I were to play it, I probably wouldn't end up using it unless I were to move. Like, if I were to start from the beginning, I probably wouldn't use that armor. I would use my own pre-made armor just because that, like, takes away part of the game for me.
Yeah, which is understandable. I just took what they gave me. I'm like, all right, well, this is what you're telling me to wear, so I'll wear it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, overall, like, I understand why people like the game. I don't understand why people like the combat at all. Like, that combat just, I don't understand the appeal of that. But I, like, understand, like, I understand the game loop. Like, I see why people want that experience. It is so fucking obtuse, though.
I do want to put, you put something on the outline that you didn't say. You wrote that you're not really sure what the tells are for how, like, you wrote about fighting the Anjanath that you spent about 20 minutes chasing the big dinosaur, and I wrote it's Anjanath. Quote, lost track of it and never found it again. No clue if he was even close to dead.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So, first of all, I believe, in Monster Hunter World and Iceborne, the higher your research rating for an animal is, or for a monster, like, eventually, once you see it, it's always tracked. But initially, there's these things called paintballs, which you wouldn't know because you've never played them. There's these things called paintballs you throw onto it, and it tags the monster, and you can track it on your map. That's how you can always find it, and you wouldn't lose 20 minutes trying to find it afterwards. Plus, also, you would search for its tracks and things like that.
I was following its tracks for a while there,
yeah.
But then I had to stop to sharpen my blade because it was completely dull.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I got back up, I didn't know which path it took, and just got totally turned around. And it wasn't until after that the tutorial stuff kicked in, and it's like, hey, if you open up your map, you can see where the monsters are.
Yeah. And you can also track the monster from your map, which you should have been able to track it once you started fighting it, and the flies would have brought you the most direct route to the monster.
It was up until I fully lost it. Like, once it was gone, because like I said, I had to stop to sharpen the blade, and it must have gotten far enough away that the flies were not visible anymore.
It probably left the zone.
No, because when I moved forward in the game, and they told me, like, hey, open up your map and you can see where the monsters are, he was in, I mean, unless it respawned.
It might have been, because at that point in the game, you have only encountered 2 monsters in that zone. Those are the only 2 monsters spawning in that zone, and up to 3 at a time can spawn. So he might have left the zone and a new one came in.
Okay. But yeah, and then I see you put on here that they limp.
Yeah.
I never caught anyone limping, so...
When you get them down to about 15% of their health left, they literally limp away and try to go back to their nest and go to sleep.
Okay, yeah, I never saw anyone... I never noticed anything do that. I just noticed that, like, other than them occasionally falling over and then getting back up, there wasn't really any tell that you were doing damage.
Well, there are tells. You get the damage numbers, which is new to Monster Hunter World, which is really nice. They took away blood in this one, but gave you numbers. But in Rise, you get blood back and numbers, which everyone's so happy about.
And I did see the numbers, but I meant, like...
But the other way to tell is you literally break parts. You can break their face and then they get scarred. You can break their legs. You can cut their tail off. That shows how much that you've been doing damage and how much damage you've been doing.
Oh yeah, I see. I never saw any of that happen on anything I was attacking.
And it might be like, I mean, let's see, the great whatever, the yellow lizard guy, what breaks, I think you can cut off his tail, maybe, but other than that, he might just get scarred up and it might be very minimal.
And I think that's the thing too, like, because the combat, in my opinion, is bad, and you're just constantly clipping through them, like, it's hard to actually notice, like, scarring. It's kind of chaotic too because they're constantly moving around.
Again, they're the starting monsters that are like, you don't fight them that often, so maybe they didn't put a lot of attention into them, or you're also using like weaker weapons, so you might not have been doing the amount of damage you needed to scar them. But it's also like the later on monsters, the more like definition there is to the damage you do to them. For instance, Rathian and Rathalos, you can break each of their wings, and they have like talons at the tip of their wings that when you break them, their wings get all torn up and the talons come off. When you cut a tail off, you literally see the tail come off, and you can go get parts from that. When you break the face, you can actually see the scars. And there's one bird creature where like you break its beak, and like its beak is literally torn apart. It might have been the monsters you fought. The raptor thing. The only thing that breaks from that thing is it's the hair on its head and back neck get all frazzled and destroyed, and so that's not very noticeable.
Do those things always happen at like a set health point?
At a set health point for those body parts.
So you'd have to be specifically attacking that area?
Yeah, but like
okay.
you're dealing damage to the entire creature by attacking those areas, but those areas have a set amount of damage they can take before the breaks.
Sure, okay, but so in theory you could kill a thing and never necessarily cut its tail off.
Yes, in theory, not in theory, you can kill a thing and not cut its tail off. You can kill a thing and not break its head, or and things like that. Like the Anjanath, the big T-Rex thing, for me, since I'm a blade fighter and stayed close to the ground, I'm always attacking its legs so that I can scar up its legs and break its legs, and then attack its legs more to cause it to trip more often, to be able to hit his head, his arms, and his tail. Like, it's part of the strategy to focus on these parts so that you can get them to stagger and trip more.
But, like, to Cobb's defense, like, he just may have never actually saw those things because, at least, again, just from the limited experience I had in the demo, it doesn't necessarily make that explicitly clear that that's a thing in that game.
I never saw anything that did it, but I also wasn't reading every single prompt that came up throughout the whole thing, so it could have.
Yeah, it might at some points, tell you, if you focus on this part, because there are creatures, there's a lizard bird thing, is it called Pookie Pookie, I think, that if you cut its tail off, it cannot use its water-based moves. So you want to cut its tail off as soon as possible. So at some point they might tell you, if you focus damage on the tail, slashing damage on the tail, you could cut its tail off and he won't be able to water you down or whatever like that.
I don't know.
I haven't played that beginning part in 3.5 years, and it's 400 hours ago in game time, so, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I have already uninstalled it. I kind of...
Yeah.
I gave it a shot, and then I got rid of it because I wanted to play something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I had such a bad time with the combat that I don't think I would have been able to focus on a particular part to try and do that. I just kind of wanted it to be over as quick as possible.
Yeah.
But not everything's for everybody. So
no, that's all I ever want is for you guys to give it. You guys always trash on it and hate it and attack it. But you've never really given it the try.
And now I can. I can shit all over it and tell you it's the worst game ever because I gave it a real try.
Until Monster Hunter Rise comes, and then you can't because that's a new game.
Nope, it's still the same fucking thing.
Yep.
That's the same.
I mean, kind of. Yeah, they're adding a bunch of new shit that's making me more and more excited.
It's still gonna be the combat's still gonna be bad.
In your opinion?
Hey, it's 2 against 1 right now.
I mean, I can get 3 other people. I can call them up and they'll tell you that the combat's not bad. It's
all of their opinions are bad.
No. I can get the 16 million people that bought the initial copy to call us up. But
then 11 million people didn't buy Iceborne.
Wow, really?
Yeah, only 5 million people bought Iceborne.
Wow, I didn't realize that. That's crazy.
But at the same time, what is the expansion drop off rate for games?
I mean,
I just think it's crazy with how much people talked about World and how much Capcom sort of reiterated that it was their best selling game of all time. I just assumed the expansion sold a similar amount.
I mean, it's I when I found out it was only 5 million, I was shocked. I think it's the 3rd highest selling Monster Hunter thing. South of, I think it was Generations Ultimate just beat it. Which that came out for the Switch in the United States and worldwide 6 months after Monster Hunter World, but it came out close to a year before Monster Hunter World in Japan, or I think it was 6 months before Monster Hunter World in Japan. But yeah, I when I saw that and I was like, there's only 5 million people that got this? That's weird. I'm surprised, but I stand by the drop off rate of people getting the main game to the expansion. That sounds about right, kind of, I think.
67% of the people didn't get it. I don't know that that's necessarily... I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I tried to do that research, and, I thought about, maybe looking up and doing, Destiny, and how many people got each version of Destiny, what the buy percentages of were that. But
that would probably be a very fair comparison, honestly.
Yeah, but I didn't get that far into it. It was just this is too much.
Yeah. But I think that's probably going to do it for this episode.
Yeah, me too.
All right. If you'd like to find more of our content, you can head over to I'm going to start that all over because I don't even know. If you'd like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't help us there with your dollars, you can help us by going to your favorite podcast platform like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music now, or any of those other popular platforms. And rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All those things help. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Twitter and Instagram. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can send us emails to social@one-quest.com. Otherwise, we'll be back next week with something else. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.